Laredo, take us out.
Take her out.
All right! Yeah! Blast off! Take flight each and every Friday night. Join the fun and let's go OffWorld. Geek out with us live where the nerdiness will thrive. Buckle up and let's go OffWorld. Toys, comics, pop culture news, movies, and so much more. Matthew, Jesse, Curtis, and Sean are your guides on this fun-filled tour. Blast off! Take flight each and every Friday night. Join the fun and let's go OffWorld. Let's go OffWorld. Let's go OffWorld. Hey, hey, hey! Let's go OffWorld tonight.
Welcome, folks. It's Friday. It's OffWorld. We're going to have a great time. We've got a wonderful guest with us. But before we get started, I got to bitch and complain a little bit because that's what I do.
Again?
Yeah, I got to get something off my chest.
More of a still than again.
Yeah. Joe got me riled up beforehand, and I'm not going to be able to have fun and enjoy myself if I don't get this off my chest. So,
Damn it, Joe.
yeah.
It was an accident.
So last week on Friday, they announced Figure Obscura, which is a fun time, right? From the time that they announce it to then they show it and people buy it and then quickly they get it in hand. It's a great experience. And people are starting to get these things and they're awesome, right? And then other people are getting salty because people are getting it before them. Well, this person's got it and I don't even have a shipping notice yet. And I put my order in on the first day and blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. All right. They already said this is going to take about 3 weeks to ship all these, and it was sold within 24 hours. So everybody placed it within the first day. All right. And it's going to take like 3 weeks to get them all out. That means somebody's going to be at the front of the 3 weeks. Somebody's going to be at the back of the 3 weeks. Okay. But to give Joe shit. Okay. Joe, like, listen, if I posted mine, I got it, let's say quickly, and I posted it. You want to give me shit? That's fine. I'm an asshole. Joe's a great guy. Joe has not been anything but nice to everybody. So jumping on Joe's Instagram post and giving him shit and saying that the reason he got his early is because he's quote unquote a podcaster on this show that nobody fucking watches is bullshit. Okay. So just got to get that off my chest. If you don't have your Frankenstein yet, you'll get it. Shut the fuck up. There you go.
So I just have to say that I appreciate all interactions on my posts. So even negative ones are appreciated. Thank you. Please do that.
And I just have to say you're assholes. So there you go. Not you people watching, but somebody out there. You can look at Joe's Instagram. You can see who the assholes are. Let them know. Hey, you're assholes.
Look at my Instagram. Don't look at my asshole. Look at my Instagram. I almost misspoke there. A little Freudian slip. But yeah, look at it because there's cool stuff on it, not because of any comments.
Okay. Now that I've got that off my chest, how is everybody? How you doing? How you doing, Joe? You doing all right?
Hey, kick the tires and light the fires. It's time to go OffWorld. I'm excited. Happy to be here.
Awesome. I'm glad that you're here. And I'm glad that you got some people that like you. So
I hope most people like me. I'm not sure, but most.
Jesse, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm here.
We're happy to have you on a Friday. We like seeing your face. You're awesome.
That's what I got. That's what I got right now.
we like your face.
And
and
in the gross temperatures.
And we got the Dooch. What's up, the Dooch?
Hola.
No movies tonight with the wife. No kids ball games. No nothing going on. Just able to chill with us.
Just an OffWorld. So we're gonna have some fun here, and I'm glad you had me on. I don't know why I didn't think you had to refer to me as special guest, but it has been a minute since I've been on here, so I get it. But you know, it's always a pleasure when you guys have me on. So
You are a certain kind of special, but that wasn't really what I was referring to.
My
we have a gentleman with a couple different personalities. There's one that, you know, in person that you hang out with that everybody loves, like just a great guy to hang out with. Then he's got this other personality online that's like you know, throws out these like vague comments, and then people have to ask questions like, what are you talking about? So that he can then preach to them and stuff about different things. That's Keyboard Matt, but we don't have Keyboard Matt on tonight. We've got the cool guy. We've got Matthew Rodriguez. How's it going, Matt? How you doing?
Hello. I was disappointed in the intro.
Okay. Gotcha.
Obviously, Joe's been around here for quite some time now, and DeWitt hasn't tweaked a little bit of musical melodies for us, huh?
Listen, we're disappointed in ourselves. I don't know what to tell you. We've been talking about it for a while now.
We have plans
there, but yeah,
we have solid, definite, probably maybe plans.
Yeah.
I've just got one foot out the door the whole time, so you know, change that you never know when my run will be over.
Yeah,
changes are good, and I know that having you on is awesome, Joe. And I definitely, I mean, I back in the day, a few years back, I remember doing artwork for the My Wife podcast, and then all of a sudden they added Jeremy, and so experiencing similar growing pains. So I hope that sooner than later, maybe a little tweak, a little added verse or a little added line could do well.
Or just dub over it. That would be great.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that I'm just happy to be here. And the intro already rocks.
Joe,
so
likes
as long
to
as I
say
get
that,
to be on the show, man.
Yeah, Joe likes to say that he's not a co-host. He's what are you?
Sidekick.
Yeah,
I'm a sidekick.
So, sidekick. And it's funny,
like a Robin with a bunch of Batmans. So.
You're like the one Robin.
The Justice League, when they let Robin in the Justice League, just like, you know, because they pitied him a little bit.
Curtis, your mention, I will actually I will fully disclose my wife had a long story, but had to go to the hospital for first, like nothing big deal. But she ended up running into somebody that like knew I went to school with, you know, and this is years, decades ago, whatever. But when you mentioned the me and then the online me, she's just like, all of these people, like she runs into people, they're like, oh, you must be married to Matthew, and oh, your son just looks just like him, and he's just blah 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 blah. And the way they talk about me, she's like, it's so funny to me that everyone you've met since being online hates you, and everybody that's met you before being online thinks you are the most wonderful, adoring person in the world. And I'm like, that's awesome. I'm like, Curtis just reiterated that there's my what is it? My public persona. I don't do very good with that one. So
there's nobody more fun to be around in person or to hear on a show than you. Like when I used to listen to Podcasters of the Universe, let's be honest, they really don't do much content now. But when I used to listen to it, my favorite episodes were when you would show up. Like,
well, I appreciate it.
Always took it up to the next level. So,
and I hope we take it there tonight.
There you go. We do have some interesting topics, so it's going to be fun. But just to finish off the intro of MattRod, because some people I think get confused about some of this. So this is Matthew Rodriguez, who has Ideas from Mars, which has Armies of Ashmore, which is Defenders of Eden. Am I missing any titles? Do we need to have like three more different?
Well, they also produce Modern Wonders.
Honestly, and that's part of the growing pains is like, dude, it's absolutely nuts in my head. And I know you guys deal with a lot of the same stuff in your own head. So you can empathize a little bit, but like, it's like the other day, I'm just working on actual stuff that I have to work on. And then like an idea came to me and I'm like, are you kidding me? And so I quick write some stuff down and everything. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure we have a Modern Wonders that's can be released any minute now on Kickstarter. And then we're because it's already done. And then we're in the process of sending out these wonderful Armies of Ashmore Wave 1 figures. And it's like the tension of real job MattRod and then like creative MattRod, where like the plan is, because once I can kind of phase into creative and actually have some sort of income, like you're going to see things produced a lot more frequent, which is why I want it out of my head. And hopefully it's good enough that people want. But as far as like Wave 2 and the toys and Wave 1.5 and all this stuff, it's like you guys are wonderfully like watching what a regular guy that works 55 hours a week while also trying to like slowly make money in the creative world, also while taking care of his family and everything. Like you guys are like literally
Good Lord,
watching
stop
me
bragging, man.
watching me as a guinea pig like try to do that. And like I know I have friends too that are just like, you got it, why don't you just do it? It'll be like, it's like literally this 3-year span of like, I want to also make money. Like it's so like it's like this slow process. So I appreciate you guys and the support and everything. And I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about at this point, to be honest with you. So
I think you were just trying to flash all your accomplishments in our faces and
Right.
let us know how terrible we are. So.
That's okay. Consider my face flashed.
Yeah. Between working Matt and toy Matt and you know, the father Matt, do we also still have gardening Matt? I know that was a thing for a little bit where we had Matt out in the garden. Is that still going on?
Yeah, we do. We my wife has a wonderful garden. It just, man, taking care of a garden is hard work. And like we let it go for like one weekend. We're like, you know what, let's relax. And then all of a sudden it's a jungle. So she picked all the tomatoes. She made some salsa. We made some I think she made some tomato soup. My mom did grapes, so we did grape jelly. And to be honest, as corny, and you guys are all of the age where like if I accidentally say this sounds gay, you know what I mean though, and it's whatever. But as gay as
The
it
thoughts
sounds,
and
like
feelings of Matthew Rodriguez do not necessarily reflect the feelings of OffWorld. Let's go OffWorld.
Oh no, I support it. We need to bring back calling things gay. It had nothing to do with the homosexuals.
Yeah. Well, dude, no joke though. I have a senior girl in high school and I have a sophomore boy, and believe me, the calling thing that's gay it's very in right now with the kids. But eating something you've grown, like it's pretty up there on the cool list of things to do when it comes to like making potatoes and stuff like that.
So does that mean at this point, if there was like an apocalypse, like you would be able to survive? You think you'd be able to take care of yourself without a grocery store?
Yeah, between us and our neighbors. Yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
Like you would slaughter your neighbors and take all their stuff.
Yeah, we going Dahmer over here.
Well, their garden is a little bit bigger and a little bit more things optimal.
And you had the better firepower, so it's now your garden.
I've got a couple.
You don't need firepower. You can just throw those dinosaurs at them and knock them out.
I was gonna say I have a couple plastic like He-Man swords hanging on my wall that could work. I guess I don't know. So, yeah.
Well, folks, we've got Matt on tonight. He's definitely going to show some dinosaurs, but he had some topics in his head that he had to get out there, and this was just a good forum for him to come in and yell at some folks and get some airtime, because if he's got these other friends in Michigan that he could probably weasel his way into their show, but he wouldn't get to speak because there's two guys in there that just the whole time. So he came on here. We're going to talk about some fun things. Before that, we do a thing called toy pickups. and we just go around and see what everybody's got. So I am going to start with the Dooch. Dooch, what you got for us?
I actually do have some stuff. So
you'd better. You haven't been on the show in like 2 months.
It's true. It's true. So I did.
He only shows up for the special guests.
Matt made me be here. I did recently get the Eternia collection, the Blu-ray remastered version of the Filmation He-Man and She-Ra cartoons.
Nice.
This is a German-only release, sold out really quickly back like a year ago when it was released, but I signed up on a wait list on one of the DVD websites, and it actually came back in a stock somehow. So I was able to grab that. Yeah. So it's they actually work through. It's got it back to the regular speed because all the masters that we have that the DVDs were made from were like a faster speed. So it restores it all to its full glory, and they actually went through and upscaled all the frames by hand.
Wow.
So it is.
Cool. How much did that cost you?
This was $220 for the entire set. It's like I forget how many.
It's He-Man and She-Ra, the whole thing.
It's the entire He-Man She-Ra series. It's got the Secret of the Sword on it. It's got the 2 VHS specials, Greatest Adventures of All and Revenge of Skeletor.
Christmas.
It's got the Christmas special. Yes. It's got the Power of Grayskull documentary by Rob McCallum. So, and then there's a bunch of other stuff in there. So yeah, it's a heck of a deal. So, the default language is German, but it does have an English option. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's a really cool pickup.
Yep. It was released by
it looks like it's still sealed, so you haven't actually looked at it yet.
No, I haven't actually opened it up yet. And the one thing I was worried about is they had some issues when it was first released that some of the discs had errors on them, but it did come with the replacement discs. So
wait a minute. Is the language High German or English? So there's a version on there where somebody goes, "Oh, dude, what are we watching now? It's He-Man and She-Ra. I love these." Yeah,
I don't think they mean that high.
Not that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's I'm a little disappointed.
That's also why it's hard for me to tell you how many discs are in it because everything on here is in German.
Well, once you actually crack that open, I'd love to hear what you think about the quality of the video.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I plan on doing some because I've got DVD, VHS, and now the Blu-ray. So I'm hoping to do some comparisons to really show the differences between the three. So
okay, cool.
Should be a lot of fun. Then I also got, funny enough, this is something that I'd been looking for and debating for a long time, and I finally pulled the trigger on it last week, and that is the symbiote Spider-Man from Marvel Legends in the retro card. Literally bought this the day before they showed off the Secret Wars one.
That's gotta
be. But got a good deal, paid less than actual retail on it, so I can't be mad.
That Secret Wars one looks nice, though.
It does, and I'm actually thinking about maybe getting the Secret Wars one. I got to really compare the two, but I'm thinking about getting the Secret Wars one to bust open. It's got a few more. It's got the other head option and a few more options, so I'm thinking about doing that, and then maybe just keeping this one on the retro card. And then last thing I picked up just on a whim and a lark was the Mighty Morphin Red Ranger. It was $5, so I'm like, why not? I could use some Power Rangers. Huh?
Who makes that?
That's from Hasbro.
Gotcha.
So, and that is the box versions, which are not the Lightning Collection. And it's the first time I've had one in hand, and yeah, it's worth about $5. So
okay,
it's very, very plain, solid white sword. He comes with the blaster, but it's only in the dagger transformation mode. And And then the articulation is nothing really. You do have knee, you've got elbow, no hand, no boot at all. Head moves, and actually the head was stuck, so it actually took off some of the white paint on the neck.
Oh boy!
When I opened it up, so. But he was wrapped up inside the box in this nice tissue paper with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers logo on it. So.
Oh, crinkle that up a little bit. It's like it'll be like our chat when you're doing.
Yeah, hey guys, how's it going?
He's stocking chips.
So I mean, well worth $5. Probably won't go on my shelf. I'll probably end up giving it to my son to play with. So,
is that do you have a favorite Power Ranger? Is that you just?
The Green Ranger is my favorite.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
It's I'll definitely after holding because I was always curious about the quality of these. But I'm definitely still want to chase down at least a Green Ranger one day, but it's definitely going to be the Lightning Collection Green Ranger. So
rest in peace.
Yep. All right. Well, we will throw Jesse up here. Jesse.
Oh,
what you got for us?
Well, I didn't grab all of them because they're all displayed on various things. But I got the D&D Lego minis.
Oh, nice.
So these are all the.
What's hanging from that first one on the left? We guess it would be my left. It'd be your
the Paladin's.
Right.
The Paladin's mace is what he's talking about.
It totally looks
it won't focus on that front row. So
it look
it's dragon testicles. Lego made dragon testicles.
Well, they're D&D.
Testicles were shaking in front of him.
It's really warm. Okay.
And then just because you put me up first,
very nice.
Ooh. Oh, I see you got yours. I haven't got mine.
Oh my goodness. All right.
I mean, I didn't order one, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. All right. Let's see, Joe. We'll put you up here. Unless you got anything else, Jesse?
No, no.
Back with the Legos, just real quick. Was that a baby dragon on there? There's like a red creature.
It would have been the familiar for the sorcerer.
Okay.
So this one here, this is her like familiar.
Gotcha. They came together or they were separate?
Yeah, they came together. So
cool.
I did a thing on eBay. They had these are like the blind boxes you can get like at the checkout or wherever at stores. I hadn't seen them. So eBay, someone had them on eBay for pre-order before they came out, and I did that. And it was basically just a couple bucks more than buying all, like, because there's 12 of them. So, but I got all 12 and no duplicates, so I don't have to randomly throw $5 or $6 at the register and get the same, like, Bard, 5 times or whatever the common one is. So, and I have all the villain ones back on the shelf.
Nice.
For those of us not in the know, could you explain what a familiar is?
So a familiar in D&D is like an animal or some sort of creature. It could be an actual animal or like a summoned, like ethereal being that helps a magic user. They can, they can fly or travel a certain distance depending on what kind of creature they are, and they can see through their eyes or hear what they're hearing. Depending on what spells and different levels and things they have.
You see in a lot of movies, a witch has a black cat with her. That's her familiar.
Okay, gotcha. So kind of like Beastmaster. Couldn't he see
nothing
through,
like Beastmaster
eyes or something?
No. He could, but I mean,
he was closer. He was closer to a druid.
Yeah, he's closer to a druid, or even like a very, very enhanced ranger. But I mean. Okay. Usually they have a singular animal that,
Gotcha. Is this animal like physically there all the time, like a sidekick, or is it something that comes and goes? Okay.
It can be. In the Critical Role campaigns, one of them has a cat, but it can be summoned and dispelled. And if it takes too much damage, it disappears out of existence until he can resummon it.
Do you have to be a certain class in order to have that?
Yeah.
Okay. Generally
it's
a wizard.
Usually a wizard, maybe a sorcerer. Yeah.
So if
So
somebody
it's not a super common thing.
For
it
them,
depends on
it can be.
It's common for
if
wizards.
all you ever play is a wizard or a sorcerer or one of the things that allows a familiar, you can always have one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm asking is, so like a half orc barbarian couldn't have like a donkey familiar, is what you're saying?
Not a familiar.
You have a donkey companion, but you can't
donkey
have a
boyfriend.
You
treat him
can't have those things
But-
either.
Exactly. Trevor knows what's up. Pate, exactly.
All right. Well, thank you, Jesse. Thanks for the education. Joe, what do you got for us? This motherfucker here.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
I haven't even gotten a shipping notice yet.
I know.
How famous are you guys?
You're right. I am on a podcast, so I get preferential treatment.
I guess if I showed up more than once a month, I might have mine by now.
Right.
I got
Or
mine
if you
a couple
ordered
days
one,
It's
ago.
going to show
you know.
up 2 months from now,
Yeah.
dude, just because that's your schedule. I got my Frankenstein's monster, super cool. Took some pictures already and posted on various social media. Amazing figure, tons of great accessories. Comes with it. Super impressed. Zing. So I got him, but I know that's a common thing. I did place another order with 4 horsemen though before the figure obscura drop. Huh?
I said I was guessing a swig.
Well, to start off, I saw the teasers for God's Fire, before the announcement, and I know I already have 12 of them, but they're busy. Those 12 have a job to do, so I grabbed another one, so that way when we get those new parts, I'll be partially ready.
Nice job yesterday on Legion's Cast, by the way, talking about God's Fire.
Yeah, thank you. You too, Curtis. You too.
Appreciate it.
And then
Doctor.
the dwarves sold out, but I needed a dwarf body, so I grabbed a goblin deluxe Legion builder.
Which reminds me, your swig with the helmet on, awesome. Love it.
Thanks,
and
man.
Just the fact that those pieces fit together, I would have never guessed that, because just the sizes of them and stuff. But
yeah, I was actually looking for a helmet for a different swig custom, and I boiled it up and popped him out of there. And when I popped him out of there, I was like, that looks like the same port as the swig. And I took the swig head and plugged it in there, and it is the exact same port on the back of the head. So even the side of the helmet, I probably can't see it, but the side of the helmet doesn't have a place for the ears, right?
Yeah,
there's a slot there. That's in the design that's plugged into the side of the goblin's head, like where the ears would go. So you can take that out and actually have the ears stick out through the helmet.
Wow.
And it's all part of the design. So that was super fun to mess around
those
with.
horseman guys know what they're doing.
You would almost think, right?
Yeah.
And then I got another swig.
There you go. There it is.
No,
it was bound to come up.
Right. So I still have a few swig ideas cooking, so we might see a few more customs.
Awesome.
All right.
We will throw up our special guest, Matt. Matt, you got any pickups that you want to show off?
You guys are out in public talking God's Fire stuff. Meanwhile, I'm sworn to secrecy. I can't talk about it. I'm back in the editing room, hired by the great Lord to do rewrites and rescripts and writing stuff. And I'm just happy you guys are all super excited and pumped about what's coming up. Yes, I do actually have some pickups to share. First, I'll start with one of my first loves that you guys, I know most of you guys hate them, but as far as creativity, I'll still tell you one thing. These new adventures, if you take away everything,
New Eternia,
if you take away everything, and you stick with just doing the new Eternia modernized Motu with concept style parts and art, I'm super down with that. And then also finally got my Cyclone.
I picked that one up. It's so cool.
Yeah, no, the new Eternia is amazing.
It's absolutely an awesome figure. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the thought process. I'm a fan of the creativity of it and the added details and stuff like that. And it just is very, very appealing to me.
So did Dick Neck come with all of those pieces, or did you have to buy a couple of them?
No, Dick Neck comes with all these pieces.
Okay.
And Dick Neck's club pops off actually, and you can use the pieces and extend his club many, many lengths as well.
The actual action feature is that's where he hides his weed when he's crossing the border. So
100%.
Now, does
100%.
he have the articulated jaw so that he can bite things though?
Yeah, that's important.
That's very important.
Not this one, but I will say
garbage.
I will say, as I'm also praising New Eternia's line, I absolutely love the books with all of the interesting concept art and stuff like that. Both him and Cyclone could have done with their concept heads that didn't make it. I think that would have been an awesome touch. There's some really cool ideas there. I've always wanted to find a customizer that did 3D printing and like made even an Origins version, but there are a handful of other versions of him that I like. But again, Dick Neck, it is not cold out, obviously. You can tell.
Now, has he had a measuring contest with Milwick yet?
No, but that's actually a good idea. So we should see who stands the straightest and tallest of them all.
Actually, the dinosaurs where I got that Dick Neck joke from. There's that.
Yeah,
those
we're
pictures
building
where
off each other.
Where people like rename kids' books.
Yeah, that old golden book. Yeah.
Inappropriate. There's one where it's like a Brachiosaurus, and it's like neck is like, it's going across the whole book, and it's like, "What's up, Dick Neck?" It's like the name of the book.
Yeah, I think I've seen that. I think people have shared that with me specifically because of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a couple of these pickups, and then I have a couple. I just wanted to. So we have Caspar, and we finally nailed down his color of green. And so there's going to be a few of these variants out there that will be for sale probably, because I don't need to keep all of this crap that these factories keep sending me.
I think we got one guy that might be.
What does that mean
here in the chat?
Sorry, what?
What does that mean? These variants, like the prototypes?
Well, yeah, these first handful of like sets that they send me that like aren't correct. Like for instance, they did an absolutely awesome job on his eyes. You can't see, this isn't even the right one. I've got the right one upstairs. They didn't paint his pupils on his eyes, and so I made a bunch of edits to stuff. And then they sent me, they're like, okay, we have everything fixed. And then they send back figures that were like, everything that I asked for was fixed, but everything that they had right, they did wrong this time. So just a little annoying stuff, and I don't want to waste time on it talking about it because we have talked about it before, but like just random stuff like this dark green is supposed to be carried down through the top of this thing, and it wasn't. And just minor stuff like that. But obviously, if you're paying and you want to deliver the figures how you presented them online, you want it right. So, and then let me just really quick, if you don't mind, I can show you one more thing.
I've had it.
Yeah, there it is. Hold on, Big Nick. I had that book as a kid too. It's awesome.
The one time that Van isn't in the chat is the one time that we talk about dick neck dinosaurs.
Yes, there's my boy.
So the one thing that we finally got right was the fact that these heads and these necks, they can come.
Look how nicely those pop off too. I love it.
They honestly 100 times better than the first set that they sent me. So that when we have these head packs that come out and people that they purchase these head packs, and Andrew did the artwork on those, that you can set up your dinosaurs however you want them. And because 3 of our head packs come with this head, they special made a neck attachment for him, and it doesn't even fit in here. And I'm like, dude, we can't not send them the proper stuff. So they actually had to make Milwick's purple version of this.
Yeah.
And they're packaging it. They're packaging it, and they're just sliding it in a baggie, and they're putting it underneath in this box so that everyone can actually display their proper heads the proper way that fit properly.
Nice.
So yeah, like again, edits like that. This guy, he's supposed to have pupils. He doesn't. I yelled at them in several languages so that they understood they got it wrong. And
was any of those languages the ones they speak, or you just picked?
I sure hope
that might be the problem.
High German.
Yeah.
If I do 6 languages, the chances are one of them works.
Yeah,
because sometimes translations come across differently.
Yeah,
100%. And the funny thing is, I definitely think that there was like a learning curve in like not only like the language, but like how to just phrase things to talk to them about. Like, I don't know if you like, some of you guys are familiar with like even Spanish, how like some of the sentence structures flipped and different things like that, where at first I'm like, you guys are messing stuff up on purpose. Like it felt like intentional.
Right.
Like, no, it's just a little bit of the language barrier and
So
a little bit of that.
have
type
you
of
figured
stuff,
out how to do like the tone? Because in a lot of movies and stuff you see, it seems like Chinese folks seem to be like shouting a lot, but that's just like their way of that's just their version of like a definitive like period on a sentence kind of a thing.
My mom and dad.
I'm sure
like
I'm not
that
getting
too.
that right, but
my mom and dad are like that too. They yell, but it's because they love each other.
I'm letting that one linger there. That feels deep. And
I expected somebody to jump in with something uncomfortable.
Yeah,
silence.
So soon and very soon, you guys are gonna be able to.
There you go. That's the only head you need to make for those dinosaurs.
Soon, you guys are gonna be able to have fun with these, and again,
let's go.
We'll have them for sale at places too, But we want to make sure that you guys that helped back it get first dibs, and yeah. Anyways,
and I should mention there's been a couple people in the chat so far, David Williams and Matt Stein, who we've recently seen paint some of these up.
Dude, are you kidding me? So.
Well, hold on 1 second, because it I thought they were really cool, but then it reminded me of a conversation I had with one Matthew Rodriguez. June 20th.
Yep.
Says, "Are you still painting figures?" I said, "I am." He said,
"Yep,
might have a project soon. We'll let you know ASAP if you're interested." Then nothing for 2 months, 3 months.
Well,
and then I see these from other people.
ASAP stands for as soon as possible. So clearly it hasn't been possible yet.
Apparently not.
Might have.
Oh no, there's. Oh, don't. Yeah. That's. I mean, if we want to talk about it on here, we can.
Go ahead. Yeah, have at it.
Oh, Curtis loves.
I'm like, oh well,
airing
Matt's
dirty
better
laundry.
artist. So
no, I didn't find the artist. I was not on the committee of the people who found the 4 people that got these first 4. So there's the first 4 and there's the second 4. Second 4 are sitting over there on the table. First 4 were. Do you want to know who was on the committee? Who picked them?
Absolutely.
So you got your naked buddy, Travis Bowles.
Okay.
You got your wolf buddy, Len, who helped out as well.
Curtis, are you writing these names down? What are you writing these names down for, Curtis?
I'm typing it as we speak.
No. So when I came up with the idea, I'm like,
yeah.
When I came up with the idea, I thought it would be cool to show off what you could possibly do with some of these blanks.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I went to Travis and I was like, hey, who do you think I should just randomly send these blanks to?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, give me a minute. And so he, was away for a little bit, and I think he was at work. And then meanwhile, I was asking Len, and I said, well, I'm thinking about sending these out, but I don't know if we're going to even get blanks in time for the show and all this behind the scenes stuff. And for sure, the number one choice of what to happen was we need to make sure that Steve does not get one, because he will be the most actually offended by it.
That is exactly what I'm doing right now. I am making my Steve Buscemi, Billy Madison list of who I need to kill.
And so yeah, some of these guys, and some of these guys on this list that got the figure, I think I met David at the show last year. And even I want to say maybe 2 years ago, met him briefly. Super sweet guy. I didn't even know he did too much customizing, but his turned out fantastic. Okay. And we actually have 2 more to show off soon before the show drops. So hopefully you guys are impressed with those 2. But
yeah, and Matt's look amazing as well. Like, I mean, totally different takes on them, but it shows what is capable with these blanks.
Yeah, and even I mean, a couple of the guys were like, I'm not going to take this. I'm just going to paint it as it is. I'm not going to take it apart at all. And then 2 minutes later, one of the other guys sent me a picture, and it's like every single piece was apart. Like they soaked it in hot water and popped every single thing apart. So, don't you? Yeah, well, you don't worry there, Curtis. Your figure's still on the table.
Listen, when I saw the people that posted pictures, I was like, okay, he's better than me. And then the second one, I was like, okay, he's better than me. So I'm totally in agreement. I just had totally forgotten about it. I'm like, wait a minute, Matt reached out to me 3 months ago, and then nothing. So.
Honestly, I was not going to do it, and then I got to the point where I thought I should just throw it against the wall and see if it works. Like, I didn't know if any of these guys were going to have time. I know all of them paint stuff to sell at Legion's Con, so I also knew that competing time. I know that you sell a bunch of stuff at Legion's Con as well. But I think Travis was a little high when he was like, just do it, just send them, just send them.
I just want to let you know, Matt, if we talked about it, I've forgotten about it. So I have zero expectations.
No, I think it did. I thought you got a mini one, didn't you? Like one that's going to be more valuable in 50 years.
I got one from what was it? That was the breakout session from 22 that you did, where there was like 5 people in the room. Remember, you know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
You did at Legion's Con. You did that breakout session, and
I gave a figure to you.
Yeah, I've got the broken down pieces of one of the figures, not the size. It was like the original concept stuff that you did.
Yeah.
But one of them, but it's missing like a hand or something. So I've but I will be working on that one.
No, that's pretty cool of me to do.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, all I got was a.
That's what I got.
Shit.
And I'm waiting to paint that. I'm waiting to paint that with the blank so I can do them exactly the same. So it looks like concept to final product.
Awesome.
Not a special blank, the one I ordered.
I love the one that Matt did. Matt did a great job. I mean, it's got like this very kind of ancient statue look to it. But the one that David did, I think, is so smart. Because, Jesse and I, we did it as one of the shelf selections on our show a week or 2 back, and it gives it a totally different vibe. The paint job that David did, to 100%. Where I have thought initially that your line would fit in really well with Cosmic Legions, just the bright colors and the style and all this and that. the way that David painted it, it could easily fit in with Mythic Legions. Like it gives it this more real world kind of vibe. So I think it was just a really smart idea to show like just what a different paint job does on these things.
Yeah, no, I was pleased, and like I said before, it sounds like a broken record, and it's corny as heck, but like that's the one thing that I knew when we released the blanks was like walking around Legions Con, like, and again, it might not be this year, but walking around shows in general and Legions Con, like, and going to be able to see like everyone's interpretation of like where this line fits in with them personally. That's going to be killer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I guess I will throw myself up there then. See what kind of pickups I got. Let's see. I got. What is this? Ah! Now you guys can hate on me. So.
And yours was an all-in, Curtis?
Mine was an all-in. Yes.
Oh,
so,
and you got it right away, man.
Yeah. So I got the mug.
Last name. He's in the A's.
Sorry, the Frankenstein.
That must be because you're on 2 podcasts.
Tankard, Stein, whatever. It is awesome. It's really heavy. So and the figure's great. Listen, the figure's amazing. I thought I was going to display him on the table, but he is too cool in his out and about gear. But the art on this thing is so spectacular. Not only the front is amazing. I think this is the best work that Nate's done, but then all the little like things that he drew in here, like the little diagrams and the wording and all that kind of stuff. It is so good. He's put so much work into this. Yeah, Nate's amazing. So great job on that. So, and then this week I was traveling for business. When I travel for business, I always get myself a toy. It's just like a thing that I do because I used to travel with my parents a lot in the summer. My dad, for his job, we had to travel with him, and if we were good, we got a toy. So when I travel now for business, I consider myself being good on the trip. You know, I don't bug myself. So I get myself a toy. And the one that I picked up this time is this NECA Flash Gordon, which I don't know why, but I looked at it and I was like, something about this, like it hit me in this nostalgia, but I didn't remember why, because I always loved the movie, but this look, I didn't know why it was hitting me. And then I went and saw that this was from the New Adventures of Flash Gordon. And I started watching the series, which is on Amazon. And I remember it from a kid. Like I had totally forgotten about it. But as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, I remember this series. It was really good. And I had forgotten too, like Ming in that series is Alan Oppenheimer doing the Skeletor voice before he was Skeletor. So yeah, it's a little strange hearing Skeletor's voice coming from Ming the Merciless, but anyway, this is a really good toy. I mean, NECA did a great job. I love there's like a bunch of like shading in the muscles and stuff.
Unlocked memories, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, this is a really great figure. So I did, after I got this, I ended up ordering the Ming and have that coming from Amazon. So that was fun. It was my little travel toy. He went around with me. He was in the hotel room and then rode home with me. I put him in the oh shit handle, so he rode above me as I drove home. So
right on.
So there you go. Get yourself a travel toy.
I usually have travel toys, but they're
before we continue on, can I do something real quick?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's your show, man.
Since we're talking about it, Four Horsemen decided to they listened and they took some stuff out of their show stock, I believe they said.
That's what they said.
And they've got the all in, the creature by itself, and the tankard are all available on Store Horsemen right now, along with a lot of the other stuff they have for their in stock sale. That's going on right now.
Flat rate shipping too.
Yep. You can get the all in with the pin and the tankard and the figure, or just the figure, or just the mug. Your choice, or get a little bit of everything if you want. So if anyone didn't know that,
pick up a swig and make it a Swiggenstein.
There you go.
Shh, that's my idea.
But also remember, folks, whether you ordered this past weekend or you're ordering this weekend, don't be a bitch when it comes to them shipping your product. So,
like, do we have to go through that every time?
Every
like,
time, man. Every time. It's just a thing.
You feel like everyone would see, like, there's enough of you guys that call out the bitches that you would feel like slowly each release there would be less of that. But the ratio of like new fan, like, are they, props to them, they keep getting like new people to buy their stuff that like don't like they don't know that they're gonna get razzed on for being dorks about it. I don't know, it's weird.
I can't wait till that's all the Defenders of Eden pages.
And it's not just that person
that means
got
the
it
figures
and
are
I
shipping.
didn't. It's also the conspiracy theories that they throw in with it, where it's like that person got it and I didn't, and it's because that person does X, Y, or Z. Like, as if they're going through the thousands of orders that they have and going, we like this person, we're going to move him to the top. We don't like this person, we're moving them to the back. Like, they don't have time to do that shit. They're just printing stacks of labels and handing them off and picking them. You may be in the first stack, you may be in the last stack. That's just the way it goes. So,
unless you piss Greg off, then he makes your shipping label disappear under a bookcase for 2 weeks. Thanks for that, Greg.
So, speaking of Greg, though, I did want to bring up before we get into like our main subjects and stuff. Like a month ago, maybe a little bit more, I had to do a thing that everybody loves doing. It's one of their favorite things in their life, and that's go car shopping. Right? That it's just a fun experience, right? Everybody loves that, hanging out at the dealership for 7-8 hours.
Absolutely no. There's few things I hate more than car salesmen. So
yes. So I'm doing that. I got to go with my daughter. She finally got her license. She wanted to get a car. And then I decided I was going to get one while I was there as well. And I know two
like
people,
you do.
Yeah, I know two people in the industry that kind of do this thing. So I reached out to both of them. One was Matt and one was Greg. And so I just want to like talk a little bit about my experience, which was with Matt, I would send him like a car or two, and he would go, well, this one, you know, there's some issues with the transmission on this one. As long as you get an extended warranty on the transmission, you should be good, but you might want to watch out for this and that. This one is really good. It's rated high, you know, blah, blah, blah. This one had some accidents, but it doesn't look like it's anything serious. The airbags didn't deploy. So like very detailed information. With Greg, I sent him two vehicles. One was like a 2016, one was a 2020. And Greg comes back with, well, the 2020 one is newer.
Correct.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. That is the insight that I was definitely looking for.
Well, Greg definitely. We come from the same. We're cut from the same cloth, but we definitely have two different skill sets because I sell all across the board, old, newish, and anywhere in between. He definitely makes bank selling newer stuff. And so he definitely is like calculating in his head. He's like, you know what? I go with the newer one.
I've also got to say, I think Greg said, I'm going to make zero commission off this.
Yeah.
Go with the newer one. True. What the fuck ever. Whereas Matt was like, I'm going to make zero commission off this, but I'm bored right now, so I'm going to talk to Curtis for 2 hours. So
a little bit of that.
I will say that if you're friends with both those guys and you're buying a car, go to Matt. Matt will help you quite a bit.
Maybe I should go up to Matt. I gotta say that soon.
This is impressive.
Got her license. So.
What? That Greg knows his shit?
Yeah, because if I saw my shit piled up with like other shit, I don't know if I'd be able to tell whose was whose.
I'd be able to tell whose Greg's was. His is twice as tall.
Yes,
well,
sure.
It's like the Jurassic
Park Triceratops.
With Jeff Goldblum standing in front of it.
She's tenacious.
All right. No, well, we normally have like a whole bunch of stuff. We got, you know, Event Horizon this week in theaters. We got all these different things, but you know, we've got some topics that Matt had sent us that he wanted to go through. And I know we also want to get to looking at some dinosaurs and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Matt at this point. And which direction we going first?
Well, I mean, not to kick a dead horse, but I mean, I tend to want to talk about silly stuff every once in a while, and I've got some friends up here in Michigan that originally used to like talking about silly stuff, but then it just became and
motorcycles and dice. Yeah,
you can't talk about the silly stuff, and so I'm just like, we had a couple of topics, and I shot them over to you guys and thought, you guys like thinking about this stuff a little bit like I do, so I figured maybe I could ask a few questions and see where your guys' heads were at on them, if that's okay, and discuss.
Do you want me to just go like in order the way that you listen to them, or do you have one that you want to start with first?
Honestly, I would really like to start with the I just don't get it.
Okay. So you want to explain to people what that is, what we're talking about?
Yeah. So recently a movie dropped called Beetlejuice, and has a cultish following, pretty well known, kind of goofy, Tim Burton movie, and the sequel came out. And so my thought process was, I'm old. People can like whatever they want. You can love whoever you want, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I just don't get it. Like, that's for me, one of the movies or one of the properties that I just don't get. And I was wondering how you guys felt, maybe not just specifically about that one, but if there's something that comes to your mind that is sort of cultish followed, is sort of kind of niche in that way, that you see it and you see the fans, but you just don't get it.
And just with Rob Zamora's comment here, I think part of the point is it's not even that we necessarily dislike it. It's just that we don't get it at all.
Sure. I enjoyed Beetlejuice. I didn't see the second one. I enjoyed the first Beetlejuice movie. It was fine. I laughed at some stuff. It was weird, and like, I love practical magic and practical effects. So that side of it, I always love, like Tim Burton and Henson Studios and stuff like that. So like, I enjoyed it in that sense, but I just
and it's
I understand. I get what you're saying. Like, you're not saying that it's bad, but some people lose their minds over some of this stuff, and it's like why are you so passionate like that? Like, not understanding that part of it,
right? And we're not saying that we hate the properties. We're just more indifferent to them than anything when they have a big fan base. And honestly, Matt, your Beetlejuice thing, like, I'll watch it once in a while on TV. I've watched it, I watched it when I was younger, but like, yeah, I don't get, like, I never was like, we need a Beetlejuice sequel. Like, there's nothing out of that where I'm like, we need to see this world again. So I'm right there with you on the Beetlejuice thing.
I love Keaton. I love his delivery. And for that, I enjoy his parts in that movie. But that being said, like, I think the first movie he's in for like a total of like 13 minutes or something of that movie. So it was never one where I needed to watch it multiple times over and over again, or, I enjoyed it, but I didn't lose my mind over it. And I don't think I ever would have thought, hey, I need a sequel on this. I'll watch it when it comes to streaming. I didn't go out to watch it in the theater. But mostly just for Keaton. So I don't know. Jesse, Joe, any thoughts on the Beetlejuice before we start giving our own? I don't get it.
Well, I'm actually going either Sunday or Monday to watch it. I haven't seen the sequel yet. I want to. I love the first movie. I'm a big fan of Tim Burton movies anyways. Mm-hmm. There's an aesthetic to his movies that is just appealing to me, even if the movies aren't the best movie. I always enjoy the aesthetic and look of his movies. Beetlejuice, for me, I guess I'm a nerdy kid who grew up in a small Western town with a, kind of a mining overtone. Like there wasn't a lot of people that were, comic books and cartoons and video game, that kind of stuff. Like the things that I loved when I was a kid, it wasn't prevalent in the where I live. So Lydia's story of not fitting in, though was never goth or anything, but I related to it.
You did wear a lot of black, though.
Still does.
Yeah. Are you stalking me, Curtis? I didn't even know photos existed of that.
There's only one photo of you in existence, Joe.
That's what I go for, yeah.
And that it's not that old.
It's not. So that to me made it very. It's an entertaining movie overall. My friends and I would do the Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice voice. You ever know where a guy like me could find a little action, you know what I mean? When we were young and I still had like a range to my voice, we would quote that movie, his lines from that movie constantly. So it's not so much that I was like, hey, this story needs to continue, but I'm excited to see more of what I loved from the first movie. So
okay. Jesse?
I'm going to preface this the way I preface almost everything Curtis recommends. and just to say, if I offend you, I'm not trying to. If I don't like something, it doesn't mean I think it's necessarily bad. It just means I don't like it.
Right.
I don't like beer. I don't like coffee. I don't like XYZ. I'm not saying they're bad things. That said, I saw Beetlejuice once when I was like 7 or 8. Scared the crap out of me. I didn't like it. Never wanted to go back to it. That said, I have since really appreciated Tim Burton movies, but I have not liked a Tim Burton movie in a long time. They've especially the stuff he was doing with Disney, those Alice movies, I thought they didn't impress me at all. And it felt like everything Tim Burton-y about them got diluted or over-exaggerated to to of pure ridiculousness. So I'm excited for all the people who are excited about Beetlejuice. Like, if that's, like Joe was saying, if that's getting to go back to a world you love, even if you didn't necessarily need it, getting a chance to go back and have some more after this big of a gap, I think is cool. And I'm happy for the people that are excited for it. It's like Curtis said, when it hits something streaming, I'll probably watch it. I'll probably have a good time. I'll probably go back and watch the first one again, hopefully with someone who enjoys it first.
That would be cool to watch the two back to back and just, that would be a neat thing.
But, I scared off Dooch. Sorry, Dooch. Yeah.
You say Dooch 3 times in a row, he leaves.
I do have to point out one thing, and I only became aware of this because the movie came out. Apparently, there was a long-running gag on Community, the TV show.
I saw that.
Where they name-drop Beetlejuice 3 times over several seasons, and the third time they say it, he walks through the background of...
Who the hell is that? Isn't that like the bassist from a rock band in the 90s? Get that the hell out of here.
It's I think it's the lead singer of Anthrax.
Yeah. We don't need that.
Yeah, I saw that too, Jesse. The Community thing. That's some jokes on Community. It's definitely highbrow where the long running gag is comes full circle. I think it's a nice touch on their humor on that show.
Well, I was going to go last, but somebody threw this out in the chat, so I've got to put this up there. I'm probably not going to make many friends with this, but this is one for me. Rocky Horror Picture Show. I don't get it. I've seen it, and I've actually watched it a couple times because I was like, maybe I don't know, maybe I missed something, maybe I didn't give it a chance, whatever. I don't get it, man. Like, I watch it and I'm like, people get dressed up, they go to the theater for this, they I don't know, man. It's I don't understand it at all. So maybe you guys can help me. Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen just the pictures of who's that? Who's the actor that just passed?
Tim Curry.
Did he just pass, or is he?
Yeah, Tim Curry's in it. They got Meatloaf, Susan Sarandon. So, I nothing. It never appealed to me, but I can honestly say I don't even know. I wouldn't even be able to tell you the plot of it. I've just seen the Curry and drag and people being like, "This is my jam," and I'm like, Is it though? I don't know. What Joe, Jesse, that do anything for you?
I've never seen it. So I don't know.
I saw parts of it. I went with some friends to Universal Studios in Orlando, like almost 20 years ago. And one of the special, it was like Halloween time. So they had like all their Halloween, like nighttime stuff. And one of them was like an interactive stage show with scenes from the movie playing on a screen and then people in costumes on the stage. I was there for about 5 minutes. I'm like, this is just not, I've never seen it. So like I didn't have that attachment to it. Now, you know me, I like musicals, but there's just something that movie just didn't. I'm not saying it's bad. It just didn't do anything for me. It's one of those things where I know it used to be one of those midnight movies where people would go to like a late screening and they would interact and like that does sound fun. Yeah, that sounds like a fun concept, but I don't know.
Like,
that's not a type of thing I would want to do.
Yeah, I didn't even think the songs were that appealing. Like, listen, I'm not a musical guy anyway, but like I can watch Grease and get into the songs. Like I could be like, okay, I get it. I understand that. But like you listen, I watch Rocky Horror Picture Show and I'm listening to the songs. It's like, they're not great. So here's the description, just maybe for Matt Rod's benefit.
Thank you.
In this cult classic, sweethearts Brad and Janet, stuck with a flat tire during a storm, discover the eerie mansion of Dr. Frankenfurter, a transvestite scientist. As their innocence is lost, Brad and Janet meet a house full of characters, including rock biker Meatloaf and his creepy butler, Richard O'Brien, through elaborate dances and rock songs. Frankenfurter unveils his latest creation, a muscular man named Rocky. There you go.
Correct.
Yeah. Mark Rivera says, Rocky Horror was all about the audience and interaction. The actual movie is known to be crap.
Well, that's fair. Okay. That's fair. That sounds legit.
And Tim Curry has not passed away yet.
I apologize, Tim. I honestly, I think I saw a picture of him this. Yeah, I saw a picture of you last year, and you looked rough.
He had a stroke a couple years ago. Well, almost 12 years ago. And,
wow, Matt, way to kick him when he's down.
But I shouldn't have said he's still alive. Like I didn't mean like our plans have been foiled. He's still here.
And we apologize to Meatloaf, who did pass away. So
and listen, Tim Curry I don't know, maybe he looks great, but I can tell you what, he doesn't look this great. So
get that goddamn thing off of the screen.
It's the same hat. How do you still have the same hat?
What are you talking about? I'm not wearing a hat. What show
in the
are you
other
watching?
picture you are.
Okay. So what other movies out there? What do you guys got that you're bringing to the table? What don't you get?
For me, Donnie Darko. You know,
I honestly don't even know what that is.
It's
really?
Early Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Yeah. He
Scary.
survives.
It's definitely a cult classic.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't get the plot of the movie. It's just weird for the sake of being weird, in my opinion. You know, but like too far. You know,
it's one of those movies I think people like to like make out that it's deeper than it is. Like
you can watch the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes and get the plot of the movie.
Right.
Okay.
In my opinion.
But then there's this whole group of fandom of that movie where they're like have all these elaborate theories and like it's a whole big thing.
And you see that rabbit everywhere, the creepy rabbit costume, and it's like I don't really get it.
So this is an example. So I'll say, like how some people as a group and as a community, we can kind of just see how things have evolved, whether people like stuff or not. I genuinely think that we can kind of snowball things into, oh, that's crap. And then everybody's like, yeah, you know what? That's crap. And like, it's not really, but it's kind of fun to shit on something with a group of people. I definitely think that Donnie Darko is like one where like you're saying, like intellectual, like there's like this weird, like high school girl intellectualism about it that they're like, oh, well, this is a scary movie, but like most people won't get it because it's like
Yeah,
it's
you're
deeper.
just not smart enough. Yeah.
Right. That's exactly what it is. Especially when it came
Yeah.
out when we were in high school. It's like, well, you're not deep enough to
Yeah.
get it.
And a lot of people like that, to have that thing that sets them apart from everyone else.
Right.
You know, I listen to underground music, jazz music, or whatever. You know, that sets them apart, and I totally get that. And I'm not shitting on the movie. If they like the movie, that's awesome. We were talking about things that, you know, I don't get. I had heard that it was an amazing movie and that I needed to watch it, because I don't watch many movies or much television, and I watched that and I was like, yeah, no, I didn't need to waste an hour and a half of my life.
All right. Jesse, you got one for us?
Okay, folks, strap in.
I'll grab mine. Hang on.
Said strap in.
Oh, my. I won't grab it then.
What?
Don't ask, Jesse. Don't ask. You won't like where this is going, buddy.
DM me later.
Nope. I do not. I know. I withdraw the not completed question.
Yep.
Okay, folks. Not saying it's a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're going to say. I think. Holy
I don't
crap!
get it.
Say it.
What do you think I'm going to say?
Honestly, do you know? I think you're going to say The Princess Bride.
Oh no way.
A, I would not do that to Curtis. B, I love that movie.
Okay.
That would be an end of a friendship.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh wow.
Just Fury Road? Because I'm kind of the whole Mad Max series myself, honestly.
The first three make sense. They're what they are of their time. I'm not even going to talk about Furiosa, but Fury Road.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to the theater, being excited about it. I had, discovered watched the whole trilogy a couple of years before it, before they officially announced it was coming out, and all this stuff. Again, Trevor, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't get it. I went to the theater. I had a great time. I saw it in the theater by myself. It was a spectacle of a movie.
Yeah.
And I saw it on a Thursday or Friday night. When I went to work Monday morning, the internet was reacting to it, and like it was the second coming of Christ. Like I was like, it wasn't that good
to you.
To me, it wasn't that good. Like, to me, the story is the women escape. They drive across the road. They can't go where they're going, so they turn around and go back. With lots of cool stuff.
That's a very simplified version of it, but yes.
Right. But to me,
that was a chicken across the road joke.
that's what I got from it. Like,
sometimes it's not the destination, Jesse. Sometimes it's the journey.
But I don't feel like anybody changed. I didn't feel like anybody went through any growth or development in that movie. It was just about the stunts and the action. And that's fine. That's fine. Like I said, initially, I had a good time, but it was one of those things where people had such a huge reaction to it that it just, the more and more, it turned me off to it.
I will say that it's not deep. It's not a, like a really, you don't have to like strap your brain on for that movie and think through it and all this and that. It's just it's like watching one of the Fast and Furious movies. It's fun, it's awesome, it's it's good popcorn flick, but you're not leaving there going, this is a great movie. Like, this should win awards.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I felt about this. But I feel like I'm in the minority with people thinking like it's one of the best movies that has ever happened. And I don't get that it's a good movie. I don't think it's that movie.
I thought, and I will partially agree with Jesse. I don't think it should have been called Mad Max Fury Road because Max is barely in it. I think it should have just been called Fury Road because I myself and not saying that the movie again wasn't good, but I felt like Max wasn't the main character. He was barely a character.
Well, and I think they've confirmed at this point that he's not Mad Max. Like he's not.
No, he is.
The movie's called Mad Max.
I know, but I think that I read that they like this is like Mad Max was actually the character from the first few movies was before that. Like this guy took his name from that he's not not supposed to be a reboot.
Whether it's a different character or not, he's still barely in the barely has a part in the movie. That it should have just been called Fury Road, and I would have felt better about it when the movie was over.
Furiosa definitely has a bigger part than he does. That's for sure.
And I mean that was disappointing to me because of my love of the first three movies. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It gave us some great memes though, like the whole thumbs up and the fucking.
Oh, I hate that damn.
You know, that's bait. Like that's like come on, like.
Yeah, but Donnie Darko gave us some great memes too, and I still don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get people losing their minds over Mad Max Fury Road. I like you, Jesse. I thought it was a good film. I enjoyed it. I had a fun time. If it's on TV, I'll watch it. But I'm not like this is a cinematic masterpiece. So, yeah. Dooch, you got one
like I
for
said,
sorry.
Just in comment to Trevor, it's like I know I've seen the other movies. I enjoy them for what they are. This one, like, no one has hyped those movies up the way I feel Fury Road got hyped up. At least my observation of stuff. And
again,
different parts of the country, everyone's like, "Oh, the practical effects." I'm like, that sandstorm wasn't freaking practical effect.
Rob Zamora says, in fairness, who said it was the best movie ever? People said it was good, but I don't remember people overhyping it. I will say I firmly disagree with that. I have had people that I've worked with and talked with that think it's the best movie ever made in the history of movies. So it does have a passionate fan base. So
it does. And again, I'm not saying, back to the beginning, I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't get it the way so many other people love it.
Right. The segment is I don't get it.
Yeah,
I did like Furiosa better. Just FYI, just throwing that out there. So, Dooch, what you got for us?
I got a big one. I think I'm gonna go with, and this is since the first movie came out. Again, like you guys really hyped up. It's gonna change your life. You know all that, and that is The Matrix. I saw The Matrix once, and I was like, okay, that was some nice special effects. And I've never had a desire to see another Matrix or anything else in that world, even though everybody in my age group just seems to think that that is like the end-all, be-all franchise, especially at the time it was coming out.
Point of order. Are you talking about Matrix, the franchise and all the movies, or are you talking specifically the first movie you don't get?
Well, obviously all of it, because I never progressed past I've never seen a Matrix past the first one. Like that first Matrix was so hyped up and was such a like whatever when I watched it that I've never even gone back to the well to even check it. I take that back. My friends did make me watch like the Animatrix, like there was an anime that came out on it. And again, I'm just like I don't get it. I don't see what you're seeing. This is a mediocre story with great special effects.
I haven't liked any of the Matrixes after the first one, but I think the first one was a fucking masterpiece. Like it's definitely in my top 10 of all time. So
no.
Yeah, for sure.
I think so. I think the time period it came out in, the concept of technology and where we were at technologically at that time, mixed with at that time, the special effects were otherworldly.
Oh, the special effects were amazing.
I think that's all it was. I think that's why. I mean, I actually went back and watched it with my kid, with my kids when they were younger, and just yes, it's like I mean, it's the same thing like the Avatar blue people. It's like
that's
we're
Brad
not,
brought that up.
We're,
I put
we're
I
not
put that in the
reinventing the
same
wheel. Like
category.
we're not reinventing the wheel with the story,
Yep.
but I think that there was a couple pieces in place that like made that movie blow up in the same way that like Jurassic Park blew up and Titanic blew up. Like
But
it was just
Jurassic
right
Park
place, right
deserves it.
time,
That is amazing.
type of thing. But interesting. So Curtis, that's the top 10 of yours of all time, and Dooch is a co-host on a show you have.
I mean, listen, we can't all like the same things. I think the idea that we're living in a virtual world, and there's this other stuff going on, like it is a very interesting concept. And I think the way that they played it out in that movie, and the way that, you know, at the end, Neo kind of takes control of this simulation. I love it. I think it's great. I think all the other ones they've done since then, first of all, I think the next two they rushed to get out, and I think they suffered because of it. And then when they revisit it years later, it just wasn't the same thing. So they've never recaptured that magic, in my opinion. But the first one I think is phenomenal. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What say the rest of you guys?
Well, for me, Avatar or not Avatar. I haven't watched that Matrix, but Matrix.
Yeah.
So at the time, I didn't own a television for like over a year. I had never heard of this movie. I didn't know anything about it. I actually went to the theater with the intentions of just making out with my girlfriend at the time. So we kind of just picked a movie.
Do I need to pull up the movie picture?
That would have been a better viewing of The Matrix. And I'm talking just me watching Joe make out with a girl would have made my viewing of The Matrix.
So creepy.
I mean, I was there, so yeah. I mean, that would have been nice to look at. But I didn't have any idea what to expect. We pretty much just picked a movie at random because I didn't know anything about any of the movies, and ended up not making out because the movie just caught our attention right from the beginning.
Matrix cock blocked you.
Wow,
that's crazy.
I wouldn't say that.
You chose poorly.
I ended up having 2 kids with her, so I mean everything worked out in the end. But
you could have had 3.
Could have possibly, but yeah. So, anyways, that I thought that for what it was at the time, it just blew my mind. So yeah, I really like The Matrix, but I can understand how someone wouldn't.
It does have a lot of hype. So I could see if it wasn't your thing, I could see somebody being confused by the hype. But I think the hype is well deserved, in my opinion. But that's, Jesse, what say you? Matrix.
I love The Matrix. It was, again, right time, right era, right age for me. That like I never bought into the we are living in a matrix. Like I still see stuff today that like we're living in a simulation. Like I just saw something the other day where people are like celebrities and politicians are like walking up on stage and someone crosses in front of them and they like freeze. And I'm like, I do that all the time.
That's just being
I don't
awkward.
think I'm in the Matrix. Like my brain just shuts down because I saw something shiny off in the distance and I couldn't figure out what it was. But like, no, I love the Matrix. I enjoy the sequels for what they are. I don't think they're great. I think 2 and 3, especially 3, or more 3 than 2, has some of the best sequences in that franchise, just centered around a crappier story. Like the whole attack on Zion, the dock battle, I think is amazing. The ships trying to get back to there, I think is great. And the whole concept of like Smith getting into the body of a human, like there's some really interesting thought there that I just, the weird baby face thing at the end of it just kind of, and it was just a whole cycle that repeated again. Like that lost me. But the initial movie, I loved it. Had a great time. I think I saw it 3 or 4 times in the theaters. I was in college at the time. So like, it was a lot of great conversation with friends and, just had a lot of fun with it. But
first 2 DVDs I ever bought were Gladiator and Matrix. And I played them nonstop like that. Yeah. So yeah.
Nice. More power to you.
MattRod, what say you about Matrix?
You know what? I started this conversation without having one, but one actually came to me when Dooch was talking, because Dooch reminds me of the lead character.
Of the Matrix?
No, no, just kidding. I remember it was college-ish age range, and all of my friends were just like, "This movie is the funniest movie I've ever seen. Holy crap! It's raw. It's funny. It's this indie movie, low budget, blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
Freaking Napoleon Dynamite.
Ugh.
I just, for the life of me, and then so like literally 100 people within a 3-week span were like, "This is the golden god of comedies," and I put on that movie, and I just was like, "What are you even? How is everyone high right now telling me that this is the best?"
Can I ask you a quick question though, Matt? How many times have you watched it?
I'd probably say 2, maybe, but also I've never been high watching the movie.
Okay. I feel like that's one of those ones. There's certain movies like that, The Big Lebowski. There's certain movies that I think the more you watch it, the funnier it gets. But if you just, the first time I watched it, I'm the same boat as you. Like people were talking about, I watched it. I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch? And then you watch it the second time, you're like, okay, maybe I get a little bit. And then you watch it the third time and you're laughing along with it. I don't know. I think it's one of those ones that I think you have to give it multiple times to.
I think it's worth a rewatch. You think?
I think if you rewatch it, you may find a little bit more with it. But I was with you in the same pass. Like the first pass, I was like, I don't know what the fuck I just watched.
I just didn't get the, like, I get, because again, in the same vein, like back in the day, dude, Step Brothers and Talladega Nights and Anchorman, like we didn't have internet or social media at that time. Like I was explaining to my kids, like there were movies like Dodgeball, like you'd quote these movies throughout your entire day with your friends and your family. Like that's how you like got to know movies better. You would like quote the movies. And so there's a handful of those movies that were just like hilariously so quotable. And I just never, like, I have friends that would quote, quote the Napoleon Dynamite, and it just never hit for me, I guess.
Yeah. But anybody else? Napoleon Dynamite thoughts?
Well, I'm right there with you. It was one of those ones my friends were like, you gotta watch it. I'm like, yeah, I watched it and that was fine. I'm good. Like, there's no reason to revisit it.
Yeah, I guess for me, it might be a little different because nobody overhyped it to me. So when I watched it, my expectations weren't set super high, so I could just enjoy the stupid comedy that it was. So, I mean, I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
All right, Jesse?
I worked at the movie theater the year that came out, so I saw the trailer.
Oh boy.
And I was excited to see it. I didn't get to see it in the theater. I remember renting it. I had a coworker that was quoting it all the time. I worked at a bank. He's a couple years younger than me, but he kept going like, do the chickens have large talons? And just all this stuff. And I watched the movie and I laughed one time. And that was when they throw the grapefruit or the orange at the uncle's van and it like scared him. Just because I hated the uncle so much at that point. And just some, I don't even remember. There was just something in that moment that just made me laugh. Now, I got to give it a fair shake. I have not given it another chance. And I watched it immediately after watching, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which at the time I was like in my early 20s. So I was like, oh, the deep stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I still like comedies, but like I didn't find Napoleon Dynamite funny at the time. I do like Nacho Libre, which I know some of the same people made that movie. So at some point I'll probably give it another chance. But again, that's one comedies I think especially are ones that if I don't discover it on my own and it's big, I need to watch it with someone who loves it to get like kind of that infectious laughter with them.
And I will admit, I guess, because I kind of went off script because I don't necessarily think that this movie fits in how I phrased the initial thing, which is I don't think that this movie has a cult following that's like super hardcore about it. It was one of those I don't get it movies. Whereas I think Mad Max, Matrix, these other movies you guys are mentioning have like legit like fan bases that will kill you for what you're saying about their movies.
So with that being said, I don't want to, we're already an hour and a half into this and we still got some other segments to get to. So I don't want to stretch this out too long, but I do have one that I think some people may actually kill me for that I would be remiss if I didn't bring up because I totally just don't get it. And that's the Evil Dead series. I don't get it, man. I just, people are like, they love it. Like it is their like religion is this Evil Dead. Like I know our friend Jeremy DeWitt like absolutely loves it. I don't get it, man. I've watched all of them and it does nothing for me at all. It is just a bad movie. All of them are. They're not done well. They're just the special effects are terrible. The acting is terrible. The story is terrible. I don't know. I don't get it.
Sometimes you like movies for being bad. The first Evil Dead was like a college project that they were doing, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell. So, the very first Evil Dead probably wasn't meant to be good. You know what I mean? It was as good as they could make it with what they had to work with. Evil Dead 2 is kind of a remake of the first one, but with a budget.
And then Army of Darkness.
And then Army of Darkness is the best thing ever made, and you're out of your goddamn mind.
Okay. All right.
It's all the campy, ridiculous. They're like, okay, we did a horror movie. Let's just take it and have as much fun with it as we can. And I love Army of Darkness. And it is a terrible movie intentionally. There's a castle in the desert. Where the hell does that happen? You know what I mean? Like you got to kind of switch off your brain and just enjoy it for the one-liners and things like that. That is what the movie was intended to be.
Even for what you're saying though, like people, like for people to enjoy it or like it or whatever, I think is one thing. But in the guise of what we're talking about here, like there are people that like love this thing. Like there are people that will legit hate your guts if you do not love these movies.
And who did you mention Bruce Campbell? Like it in the same vein, like how I view them, him, that actor Bruce, and Nathan Fillion. Like they have fan bases where like you'll just meet people that are like Bruce, who should be in the next so and so movie, and they're like Bruce Campbell would be the best man at arms, and they're like, what are you even talking about? But they're legit serious. They're legit serious about it because they're Evil Dead hardcore people. You know what I mean? Like it's weird.
Even though he's like in his 60s.
When people found out that he was in the Doctor Strange movie, like they were losing their fucking minds. And he's
they're like which hero? He's a secret. Yeah. He's a secret villain, or he's a secret hero in this thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Right. Sorry, no, that's a whole different tangent. I'm not going to go down there. Sorry.
Well, what are your thoughts on the whole Evil Dead thing?
I don't feel I can offer a fair judgment on it. I will say this one, I don't like it to the level other people do. This one makes more sense to me why people like it. Like this is one of the franchise or things we've discussed where like I get why the people who like it. Like this one I understand. I don't agree. Like my feelings aren't the same, but this one I get. The other ones I don't.
Okay.
I've never made it the whole way through one of the movies without falling asleep because I was trying to watch them at a time when I was like staying at a friend's house for a while, and I couldn't, it was after working 2 jobs, and I don't think it was the movie's fault. So again, another one I'd have to watch with someone who loved it to, I think, fully appreciate it.
I think that's a good point. If I sat down with Jeremy DeWitt and watched these movies, I might have a different appreciation for it. But just trying to get through it myself, it's like fucking torture. Yeah, I don't know, Dooch.
I've never seen any of them. So
okay,
yeah,
gotcha. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to throw out before we move on to our next topic, which is trilogies?
I have one, and this kind of segues into it. It's not as so much I don't get it because I haven't watched it, but I have zero interest in watching the Godfather movies.
Yeah, agreed. That's just wrong. So
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not passing a judgment on them. I just,
what's really funny about that is I think it's something you would absolutely love, because I think you're thinking of it as a mob movie, and that's not what it is. It is about an immigrant making it in America. It's basically American Tail in live action is what it is. And I think you would absolutely love it, but instead
Godfather Goes West.
You think it's something that it's not, and that's why you choose not to watch it. So, especially Godfather 2. I think Godfather 2 you would fall in love with. So, but I digress.
Oh,
anybody else?
Again, fair. I said I'm not passing judgment on it. It's just I don't. Yeah.
Anybody else? Godfather?
I enjoyed those movies very much, but I like mafia movies to begin with. Just it's for me an interesting perspective on life. That movie is very much about family. I don't know. I liked them a lot, but I don't know.
If I want a family movie, I'll watch the Fast and the Furious 365 movies. And if I want to watch an immigrant making in America, I'm going to go watch Hamilton for the 13th time.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've never,
I have no interest in ever watching Hamilton.
I tried. It was so
I've never watched a Fast and Furious movie.
Whoa,
I know there's like 50 of them.
You guys don't watch Hamilton?
I tried.
I love
I
Hamilton.
have no interest whatsoever.
It was not.
I don't even know what that is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do I earn some of your respect back for that, Trevor? Not that I'm trying to.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you've been hitting Trevor quite a bit in the gut.
You have.
Today.
Trevor's taking this personally.
I've never seen Godfather. I think when I was younger, it was like on the no watch list, like how I couldn't watch Simpsons either for some odd reason.
Yeah,
same.
But I would probably give it a watch at some point. But I feel like that's the kind of movie that I'd have to be like in the mindset to like get into it.
Okay. Well, Matt, the next thing you wanted to talk about is trilogies, and I'm going to let you talk about it because apparently you put 50 million stipulations on this. So I want to make sure that everybody understands the rules before we get into this. So have at it.
Well, apparently the rules aren't good enough for, the rules are too hard to do math. I'm not sure. But I had just seen Deadpool 3, and the thought process went through my head like, good trilogies within the last decade. And somebody argued back about like there was this an animated trilogy called How to Train Your Dragon. And then I looked it up, and like the first movie came out like 20 years ago.
14 years ago. The trilogy ended 5 years ago. So. And
I had a little bit of a pushback saying that shouldn't count because it hasn't been in the last decade. But I will say to you guys, since you guys are all thoughtful men of action and outside of Dooch, that best trilogy in the past decade, and it can include if the first movie came before. So if the third movie came 9.5 years ago, the trilogy can be included. How about that?
Okay.
And top to bottom, you have to be realistic. That's the main thing, because I get it. Some second movies are crappy. Some third ones are duds, blah, 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 blah. But like overall, objectively, like if somebody says like, oh well, this trilogy is the best because the Matrix #1 tops the other two. Like, if the other two were kind of duds, I don't think it qualifies as best. Like, you have to be a little bit subjective about it.
I just felt like at first it was like you said, you know, Matthew Rodriguez is the best guest on OffWorld in 2024. And then we said, well, yeah, but we had David Williams on, you know, a few months back. And then you're like, well, I just meant in September, like in late September, you know, like you narrowed down the criteria until the only one that fit it was your suggestion.
How do you how do you not understand my ability to win every argument? Like, are you not familiar with the pattern of
you
guys, hold on.
Yeah.
Curtis and Matt Rod. How does it go? When an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. That is what's going on.
What would happen if the Juggernaut ran into the Blob?
Yeah. I would like to add a
Do not answer that. I don't want a description of that, please.
I can get my strap in again if you want.
Now it's in?
Yeah,
it's in?
You want the
God.
Not the
That's why your screen went blank for a few minutes, didn't it?
Oh yeah, you gotta.
All right.
I would like to add a little bit of history to this though.
Okay.
Because this discussion all stemmed from a post by Keyboard Matt.
Yes.
Okay.
Totally different guy.
That said that the Sonic trilogy is the best trilogy in the past decade.
Correct.
So Matt's best trilogy was a movie that hasn't even completed its trilogy yet because there has not been a third movie released yet.
Yes.
So
the trailer was awesome. Okay.
I think this was before the trailer even. I think this was
the trailer was out.
I thought Keanu was listed that he was going to be a voice, and I was like, this one's in the bag.
This is
Yep.
Yeah, if the first movie was made 11 years ago, that doesn't count. But if the last movie they've only showed a trailer, totally in.
Totally legit.
Totally in. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, in all fairness, I think my biggest surprise was from a family friendly viewpoint of movies that when that trailer dropped, and then I thought about when I watched Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, and I thought it has been a while since like I enjoyed a family movie that like I could like literally take nephews and nieces to go see and like just enjoy for fun. Like it felt weird. It felt like I don't know if that's because more stuff is streaming now and not in the theater or what, but there was this kind of realization that like, wait a minute, how many family friendly, like fun adventure movies have we been seeing lately? And so that's what kind of brought up the whole like trilogy idea that like, holy crap, Sonic might sneak in and have the best trilogy
and the
in the
reason
past decade.
I jump on that post is because you did mention the family friendly part, and Jesse has been beating the drum of How to Train Your Dragon for the longest time. Like he is the biggest advocate for How to Train Your Dragon. And I have seen all three of those movies. And as far as family trilogy goes, dude, I don't care. You can take all the limits off. 10 years, 20 years, the all time. That is the best family friendly trilogy of all time. Is How to Train Your Dragon. So,
I 100% agree with that.
Jesse.
I'm going to pull
Matt
up
does. Keyboard
pull
Matt
up.
doesn't.
I'm going to pull up the original post.
Okay.
And out of nowhere, the sneaky best trilogy in over a decade ends up being Sonic the Hedgehog. Crazy times.
Yeah.
So no, I think maybe
no family movie in over a decade. Not the last decade.
You see how many comments jumped on that thing?
He knows how to get interaction.
That's Keyboard Matt right there.
Once you get into the comics or the comments is when he starts adding criteria. Then it's like, well, I meant family friendly, and it has to. All three movies had to be within the last 10 years, and that's when it starts narrowing down until it gets to his movie. His trilogy is the only one that's left alive.
Right. I don't even know why you guys talk to this guy.
All right. Well, my pick is How to Train Your Dragon. Joe,
That
what do you got?
surprises me.
I don't even know what the criteria is now. Like you guys have
It's
flip-flopped
Matt
around
Rod
so
rules.
much.
There's no
We'll just say the
criteria.
best trilogy to end within the last 10 years.
Okay.
And if you can't do 20 years, honestly, I'm curious on what you guys consider good trilogies, because it's tough to make 3 movies that individually I would consider good.
Well, saying ended in the last 10 years, if I had to pick one, just this is for me, from my point of view, and I think they're family friendly. That's my opinion. The Hobbit.
Okay.
I genuinely enjoyed the Hobbit movies. My kids were a little older, when we went and watched the Hobbit. When we watched Lord of the Rings, my middle boy had Shelob nightmares afterwards. But that was when he went back with his mom, so that was fine. Watch the movie, pass them on to the other parent, But the Hobbit is good. I know a lot of people complain because they added a lot to it that wasn't in the book. The book is good for what the book was. I enjoyed the book very much. The movie needed to be more, I think, to be a good visual presentation for a modern audience. And I think they captured that.
Okay.
So, yep.
I don't have
also, I'm a huge D&D fan, and D&D gets its roots from The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. So, there's always going to be that special place for fantasy movies for me like that.
And just to throw this out there, the last movie of that trilogy released in December of 2014, so just under the wire.
Well, that's why I was trying to get the rules straight, because I wasn't sure where we're at.
Because it has to be the last 10 years, but if not, oh well, and if so, maybe.
Well, I mean, we kind of had narrowed it down to the point where I was like, is it the Star Wars sequels? Like, is that the only thing left that I've seen that fits that criteria? I also don't watch a lot of movies, so yeah.
I am shocked Curtis did not say Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh my God, I'm so stupid. You're right. You were right.
That was a good one for sure.
No, he's right. I should have said that. Fuck, I'm dumb. Okay.
You can have that. I'm not going to.
Wait.
I would definitely.
Jesse, no takebacks. Curtis, you're locked in.
I don't have a problem with that. I'll watch How to Train Your Dragon all day long, but Guardians of the Galaxy is top fucking notch. So, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Jesse.
No, I'm going to make as bold a claim as I possibly can right now, and I think How to Train Your Dragon is the best trilogy of all time.
No criteria.
Closely followed. Trevor, don't come at me yet. Lord of the Rings is up there, they make a couple of really crappy decisions in that trilogy that threw me out of the movie for a couple.
In
seconds.
what trilogy? I'm sorry.
The Lord of the Rings,
Gotcha.
Which I absolutely love. I was obsessed and still am with the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movies. I think beginning to end, I think that How to Train Your Dragon is a better complete, fulfilling story, all in all, of all time.
You know what? I think I'm actually going to go back to the original and agree with you on How to Train Your Dragon, because as much as I love the Guardians trilogy, there's some stuff with the Guardians that happens in other movies that is not in just those 3 movies. And I think without those, it doesn't make sense, or it doesn't have that same feel to it. Like if you just
you think
nobody's ever seen any MCU movie,
right?
You just watch those 3 Guardians movies. There's going to be some things that they're lost on.
And given those character developments in other movies, it would actually kind of tilt the scale towards Guardians in an unfair advantage.
Yes. Yeah. So I think I'm going to stick with the How to Train Your Dragon. Each movie is individually amazing. The heart in it it's yeah. I like it.
I think, it's got character progression in each movie. It's got character progression across the entire arc of all 3 movies. It doesn't get so burdened with stuff beyond the core idea of the characters and everything. I think the music, I'm getting goosebumps just hearing the music playing in my head. The way, especially in that first one, the way the themes of Hiccup and Toothless are their own things, and when they fully come together in that test flight or test drive song and or score and everything, and the way there's consequences. I mean, spoiler alert: Hiccup loses his leg at the end of the first movie, one of his legs. Like, that's a heavy thing to put in a kids movie, and they don't do a lot of stuff like that in kids movies anymore, where there's weight and consequences. There's and they're good.
Now they do. Now they do it, but then everybody just calls it woke. So,
well,
because realistically, because there's a movie coming out soon where there's a kid with a fake patch over his eye. It's like one of the new Pixar ones, and it's already just getting completely crapped on because it's woke because he has a patch over his eye. But now, could you imagine Toothless and that first movie coming out today with the way the internet treats crap like that? I'm just like, do you know what I mean? Kind of.
But that wasn't the point of the movie. It wasn't the gimmick. Like, that was a consequence of
for sure,
risk and everything. I think when you're doing something, I'm not calling it necessarily woke, but when like that's your pitch of the movie is like, oh, I haven't seen what you're talking about, but
right. Like what you're saying is they weren't intentionally trying to appeal to other abled bodies by
they
doing
weren't,
that.
They weren't leaning on the missing leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Dude, I remember that scene. I'm not even joking. And like the way Curtis is agreeing with you too. Like when you guys brought up that movie, it reminded me of how, and I don't know if that was from a children's book or what like the root of it is, because I didn't know the root. It was just a movie to me. And like that whole scene happened and everything, and like the script and the way they wrote that movie, I was very moved in a way that like animated movies don't really move me that way. But like it felt good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dooch, your pick.
What I'm hearing is I need to watch How to Train Your Dragon, apparently. But yeah. It's tough, especially because you look at the last 10 years and most of the stuff most of the trilogies have been the MCU. And good point there that without some of the tie-ins, that the main stories might not hit as much. So, but you guys obviously picked some good ones already. So I'm just going to throw out there is the Spider-Man MCU trilogy. I mean, it's a great 3 movies. I like them even more with the way No Way Home winds up. It really redeemed a lot of my issues with the first 2. And overall great. Probably my only problem with it is without Endgame and Infinity War. Like that's kind of crucial to that trilogy, same as it's the Guardians of the Galaxy problem. So yeah, other than that, obviously Lord of the Rings is a great one. It's really hard thinking about it because there's a lot of movies I want to say is like, but it's usually like 2 out of the 3. Usually the first or the second movie are great, and then the third one's just kind of a dud. So yeah, it's thinking about it was a great project because it's really hard to nail a solid trilogy.
Unless you're Indiana Jones, then the first 2 movies are duds and the third one is awesome.
I do agree that was the best one was the third one. Yeah, Trevor brings a Planet of the Apes. I haven't watched any of those, so.
All right.
But I am, and I picked on Matt on the post just because Sonic's not out yet, but I do think that Sonic is primed to be like those first 2 movies turned out so much better than they had any right to be, especially with all the drama when the first one was announced. So,
Is Jim Carrey back in this one?
Yeah, he plays himself and he plays Robotnik's father. Or like he plays
said after
Robotnik
two that was like he was retiring from acting, like that was going to be his last movie. So
yeah, he apparently said he'll only come back for Sonic movies. Like he just loves doing that character so much.
Well, and it's so weird even with that, because those movies, they try to do that type of stuff where like to try to find the right rhythm and heartbeat of like what a fan base or what like the general mass audience wants. It's tough to do because like, yes, these Sonic movies the first one could have been a complete bomb and like everyone laughs at it for the next 20 years. But like somehow they just found the pulse and found it right and tweaked what they needed to do on the special effects, and they made a really funny, heartfelt movie. And obviously Jim Carrey's gonna knock it out of the park. But
and then with Sonic, it's funny because the first one was good, but then they come out with the second one, and all of a sudden we got Knuckles, we've got the bald Robotnik, and it's like all of a sudden we're fighting the giant Eggman robot. Like
you got Tails.
You got Tails coming. It's like, wait, how did we go from like the barely recognizable, here's Sonic on Earth with a cop, and all of a sudden now we're just full on video game Supersonic and everything else. Like and it just worked. It didn't feel forced or anything else. It was a great transition to like, oh no, we're full video game now. Cool.
Yep.
While I don't disagree with you guys on what you're saying on the Sonic stuff, it does strike me as odd that after the long, illustrious career that Jim Carrey has had, that this is like where he's hanging his hat. Like this series is where he's like, this is the end all be all for his career. And he's only coming back for these movies. And he's so attached to it. Like he's done some amazing things over the years. Sure. And this Sonic the Hedgehog, like forget what you've seen in the movies. Like if I were just to tell you like 10 years ago, Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be the series that Jim Carrey like puts his name on as like the highlight of his career, would you have thought that I was crazy?
I think that Jim Carrey is crazy.
Well, that's true.
So I'm not super surprised.
And I think that's part of it is he's at a point where he wants to do the family friendly stuff. Like he doesn't want to do kind of some of the more controversial stuff anymore. So
he's not gonna talk with his ass cheeks anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Just real quick while we're on it, I know it's not part of the movies, but did you guys watch the Knuckles TV show on Paramount Plus?
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, it just came out a month or so ago. It's got Knuckles teaming up with Adam Polly's deputy character from the movies. So
okay,
it was fun. It was enjoyable. So I recommend it.
So that's two of the topics that Matt Rod gave us, and there's one more.
One thing real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
Pitch it.
Part of this, I don't know if Trevor will agree with me, and I am trying to win some favor back with Trevor by pitching this. But depending on when it releases, I think Dune also has the potential to be one of the best trilogies of all time. Granted, the third one hasn't officially been announced yet. I don't think. I know, there's definitely talks that it's going to happen, but I don't like it hasn't been like pitched for like a release date and everything. But
that's one specifically that has that kind of cultish fan base too. That the Mad Max World of the Worlds and some of those other trilogies have. Where so this is my. Not my issue with Dune, but I'm thankful that Dune, because from what I heard, the first movie actually didn't make any money, if not enough to even make a second. And they were like, F it, let's commit to this. And I liked that, because if we kept making stuff, or if we used to make stuff just because it made money, like Seinfeld would have only had a half a season, like The Office would have only had one season, Breaking Bad would have never made it to streaming. Like, I like when studios and production houses and these teams, they say, F it, we're going to make the movie. We're going to follow through with this trilogy, because I just remember after that first movie hit, like they were not sure if they were going to make a second movie because they knew the movie was good, but they didn't know if it could make the money. And it was all based on the money.
Part 1 made $429 million off $165 million budget, so that seems like pretty good numbers.
It had a rough start because it released on HBO.
Yeah,
was that it? I knew there was something like
year after COVID.
Yeah, I knew there was something.
It struggled.
Yeah, opening weekend was only 41 million, so it didn't have a great opening weekend, but it definitely made its money and some. So I should probably watch that too, huh? Maybe I'll wait for part 3 to come out.
Just make the product. Just make the product and let it get into the ether. Let it get into the world. Give me CGI He-Man second season. Like, just do it.
Give me Modern Wonders issue 3. Give me Defenders of Eden issue 4. Just give me.
I'm just trying to make these toys, dude.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right, so that's 2 of the 3 topics that we had. The last one was around the most recent Deadpool movie and the appearance of one Channing Tatum as Gambit, which led Matt to ask us if they made a Gambit movie, what would that look like? What would it work, and what would you want it to look like? So, Matt, you want to start us off, or you? Well,
I just to build on that, so you guys can answer the question, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with the character of Gambit, in the comic book arcs and toys and cartoons and everything. So, I don't know if you guys have all seen Deadpool and Wolverine, but I was surprised that he made an appearance. Secondly, genuinely impressed with what he was able to pull off as the character of Gambit, and happy for him, just because it's happy. Exactly. I mean, in the same way of people being happy for Ryan Reynolds, should we continue to try to champion? Because it seems like every time we champion these actors to take control of these roles, they end up Alan as Reacher, Henry Cavill as anything he wants to touch that he has a heart for, Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds. If these people want to do this stuff, it seems like they're the ones that have the heart to do it. And so my only question was, how do you make it about him then, though? Because it's kind of, at least it was produced in this movie, it was kind of a shtick. It was the accent, and if you're going to commit to that accent, you kind of have to commit to that being if that's going to be your lead, how do you make is the word, Jesse, could you correct me if I'm wrong, is the word palatable? Yeah. How do you make the movie palatable with that guy with that accent as the lead and the movie be called Gambit? Because I kind of want that to happen. And I just don't know how.
I'll first throw out here that a running conversation that we've had numerous times on the show, whether it's with a toy line, with a movie franchise, TV series, whatever, is that you want people in charge that actually care about the property. Like that's the heart, the passion, that caring about it is the most important part. So to your point, when you have these actors that love a role so much that they're desperate to be in a movie playing that role, I think it can only be successful, because they care that much. It's not just a job. It's not just a paycheck. It's not just clocking in and out. And so, yeah, I'm all for that. You asked the question about actors championing a role and trying to go after it. I'm 100% in favor of that, because I think the results speak for themselves. So, yeah. I don't know. Any thoughts on that before we actually go into our what a movie would look like, Joe or Jesse, as far as actors pursuing a role?
I think in large, I agree with you. I think there are some people that might have a passion for something that just might not have the ability to pull off what they want to do.
Okay.
Are you talking about Nick Cage?
No, I wasn't thinking about anyone specific in that moment. Like,
I just remember the Superman Nick Cage stuff that like kind of fizzled out like 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Ghost Rider.
I don't want to talk about Warner Brothers superhero movies. I just think there needs to be someone that's not that's going to just tell them no and shoot them down, but I think there needs to be a balance to that. You know, someone to be like, okay, but just as a sounding board. And you know, I think, you know, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. But yeah, I think someone who wants to make something and loves the source material, even if they're not trying to do an exact one-to-one. It doesn't have to be one-to-one exactly like the comic book or the book, but it has to make sense. It has to make sense to that character. And if you're going to do something that is what a majority of people feel is different from that character, you have to make me buy into your character being that, your take on that character being that way. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So like Zack Snyder, he's got his whole thing with the DC universe. He needed to get us on board with why his darker take was what it was. And I don't think he successfully did that. That's a whole, I'm not trying to open a can of worms into the Snyderverse and all that jazz. That's just an example I can go.
Those people will murder you.
Well, yeah. So, that made me think of a movie I could have brought up for I don't get it. Anyway, we'll move. That's all I have to say about that.
No, but to your credit on that though, like you're talking about like people that support what you do, is that it's almost like the pendulum swung in the opposite direction. And obviously, you know, we've talked about that stuff for days, but like the pendulum being as way over here in no, Snyder, we're not going to trust your vision because you're not giving it up to us fully. Like it's not conceived wholeheartedly. And now it's swinging all the way in the other position of being like, James Gunn, here's everything you want to do for the next 10 years. Just do it for us.
Yeah. Joe, any other thoughts on that before we go into our actual?
I just want to say that Ryan Reynolds set the bar really high
for sure,
and that guy is a unique talent. And I don't know Channing Tatum. He did some stripper movies or something, like, you know, seems like a cool guy in interviews, whatever. Not everyone is going to that is a super fan of a character is going to be able to pull off a Ryan Reynolds level of production, and just realistically, and that's not any type of. I'm not trying to detract from Channing Tatum at all. I'm just saying that what Ryan Reynolds does is not something that everyone can do, and we just have to be cognizant of that. So
I get what you're saying. And yes, at the end of the day, you've got to cast your movie for who you think is right and can pull it off. But if you're down to two people and one is in love with the source material and the other one, it's a paycheck, I'm going to go with the source material.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I even believe that Channing Tatum should definitely be a part of it. It just, there needs to be some creative people with him. Yeah, at least, you know, with the first movie, if there was going to be sequels, you know, to make sure that Deadpool level of quality is coming out of it. Being a fan just isn't enough. I'm a huge fan of properties, and I would make a crap movie because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You know, it's so, just
but you would be smart enough because you're a fan of the property to have people around you, whereas in like. I've legitimately now seen interviews where like Bryan Singer wouldn't even let them read comic books on set because he didn't want any influence of like anything. And it's like, you don't want influence of source material on a movie that you're making that's based on or supposed to be lightly based on source material. Like that just sounds batshit crazy to me.
Yeah, that's just dumb. That's just ego. You thinking that your shit is so much better than anything that was in the comics or whatever.
I am in no way going to try to defend Bryan Singer for the X-Men movies. I think you all know how I feel about the X-Men movies. I will say this: he was coming off of the success of Usual Suspects, and the reason they picked him was for his unique vision and style of that movie. That is not the person you want doing a launch of your superhero world.
Yeah.
Like if it would have been a more obscure characters, and he, if he would have done not Guardians of the Galaxy, but something like that, where it's like, oh, here's this obscure. If he would have done
Suicide Squad,
not Suicide Squad. What was that? What was that crazy? What was that? Was that show on Max? With the
Doom
Robot
Patrol?
Man, Doom Patrol. If he would have done like Doom Patrol, that might have been great. Maybe, I don't know. I'm saying that 'cause I don't have as much of attachment to it. The people who are really attached to that might have, been worse than X-Men fans. But, sorry.
So no, you're fine. I think I'll kick this off. Because I am a huge Gambit fan. My favorite Marvel character. And I've been thinking about this for a whole long time. And unlike Trevor, who's throwing nothing but vile and spit and hate at Channing Tatum, I love Channing Tatum for this role. I think that they could have made some different alterations to the costume, especially around the face, especially around like the way that the jacket fits and stuff, to make it look a little bit better. But I think he played the role amazingly. I think that he's got a passion for it that I love. And what I would like to see, and what I love about the character, is that he's very he's a ladies' man. He's suave. He is good at heart, but morally ambiguous. Like he's got this gray moral compass kind of thing. And so when I think of that kind of thing, and I really like the Gambit story before he's with the X-Men. And so I'm like thinking New Orleans, you do a movie with like the Thieves Guild and Assassins Guild. Maybe like the way that I've got it pictured in my head is something like one of the Oceans movies, like a heist type movie. So, Oceans, 11, 12, 13, whatever, something along those lines, to where, he has to put together a team. They've got to go and steal something. And maybe it's, there's somebody that they're having to work for that they don't really want to. And the guy's trying to double cross them, but they've actually triple crossed them. And there's like this whole thing behind it to where at the end you're like, oh shit. So they were doing this and that's what this happened. And, that's kind of what I would like to see is some sort of, really unlock what is going down there with the Assassins Guild and Thieves Guild in New Orleans, and have like one of those movies that kind of unfolds as kind of a mystery as it goes on. So that's kind of what I would like to see.
I think you hit on a good point there. I think the Gambit that we saw in Deadpool and Wolverine would not be the Gambit in the Solo movie.
Correct.
He would. But I think Channing Tatum is still the right person to play him. And I didn't always feel that way. When they were talking about this over the years, I was kind of with Trevor. Channing Tatum, really? Maybe. But seeing him in Deadpool and Wolverine, that's what convinced me that I'm like, oh, shit, this could actually work. You get the accent under control, which they played up in the movie.
Fighting was great. His
fighting was great. You can feel his passion for the character. Mm-hmm. The key is, like you said, there'd be some costume tweaks. Give him the actual, dark colored eyes. That would be a huge step. But I think all that would happen.
His story in the comic books, by the way, like he was abandoned at birth because of his eyes, and like taken in by the Thieves Guild because of his eyes. Like they I forget what the name they had for him was, like Diablo Blanco or something, which was like the White Devil. Yeah. And they took him in because there was like a prophecy along with it and stuff. So yeah,
that's not even French.
It's a huge part of his character. So yeah,
right. And I think all that would happen in the Solo movie. It'd be treated. It'd take all those concepts we saw in Deadpool and Wolverine, but treat them seriously. And it's always a great thing when you have an actor that has that sort of passion for the character. We've said it about, Matt, we've said it a million times about if they ever decide to actually get a freaking Masters of the Universe movie off the ground, you need actors who want to treat the source material with some seriousness. It doesn't have to be gritty or dark, but they've got to believe in this world. And so a person like Channing Tatum is perfect because he believes in this and he wants to do it.
Yeah, I've seen in interviews where he said, as a kid, he would just sit there and practice throwing playing cards and stuff like all day long.
Like, because you watched the cartoon,
from being a child till now, like he loves this character inside and out. So
so Deadpool and Wolverine, I know it was a joke in that, but that joke made me realize how badass a solo movie could be. Whereas I wouldn't have cared before this, Gambit, whatever. But I'm right there with you, Curse. Do his early career, Thieves and Assassins Guild, maybe a post-credit scene where he's kind of meets one of the X-Men and go from there.
Well, and one of the main parts of that whole Thieves and Assassins Guild is that it's almost like the Hatfield and McCoys, like where they don't like each other, right? But then Gambit falls in love with this chick he's in the Thieves Guild and she's in the Assassins Guild, and they're going to get married, and it's like maybe going to unite the two. But then, something happens to where her brother disagrees with the marriage and they end up fighting to the death. And he accidentally kills the brother because he uses his powers, which he was out of control of his powers, and kills the guy. And he gets kicked out because you're not supposed to use your powers in this fight to the death. And so then he is kicked out of the Thieves Guild. And that's when he ends up going in with the X-Men. So I think you could finish like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like that's where you could finish it, is like he gets kicked out. He's sent off. And, now, if they start up the X-Men, then you throw him right in there. So.
Yep.
Jesse?
I'll say this. I agree with a lot of everything you guys are saying. I am nowhere near as big a fan of Gambit as Curtis is, but that is not to be the point where just because I'm not as big a fan that I'm ignoring the fact of how popular and how cool of a character he is. I didn't hate the Gambit in the Wolverine movie. It wasn't great, but I was like, all right, this character should look really cool on screen. Channing Tatum in Deadpool and Wolverine, what they did with him, absolutely killed it. Visual representation of the movement, like Curse of the fighting, the jacket twirling around, the cards, the staff, all of it. Great. And I agree with Dooch. They played up he's like, I don't even know if I was ever born. They played up that that worked in that movie because if you follow the ups and downs of that movie not getting into production, like it works in that regard. I agree with Curtis though. I would love like a whole thing between the Assassins Guild and the Thieves Guild, somewhere between, like you said, the Ocean's 11 movies, and maybe mix in a little bit of John Wick, because you got that whole underground society. You've got that hierarchy where they're speaking their own language. They've got their own currency. You mix those vibes, and again, I think Channing Tatum, I think he's one of those actors where I think he's got the potential to be in a movie where if they take it as serious as the movie needs it to be, like I think he's got that range, but everybody wants him to be a little bit of that goofball, like, ham-headed jock kind of guy, I think he's got more to him than that to put into movies.
And I think that to your point there too, I think that the few times he has tried to flex that have not been good, but not because of him. Like I know there was it Jupiter Ascending, or like a movie with Mila Kunis that like kind of flopped, where he was like, that was when he was going to start being like more of a serious actor. And I think he got a lot of flack for that movie, but I don't necessarily think that it was him. As far as acting goes, I think I'm with you. I wasn't really a a fan of him, and then I saw 21 Jump Street, and I was like, okay, this guy's freaking. He gets it. He knows he's not a great thespian. He gets it. He's a goofball. You see him in interviews too, and he understands who he is. He got lucky, and he's like making the most of it. And he used to be a dancer and Step Up, and like he's doing a great job for what he is.
Don't
there's
come
a new
and Step Up. Don't you dare come and Step Up.
No, I'm saying like he broke in by being a hot dancer. And then like
his Jump Street movies are great. Like he's amazing in those movies.
They're freaking hilarious. And like I slowly, after seeing those two movies, I'm like, I get it. I get why people dig him. He definitely has the it factor. He was fine. There was nothing wrong with his job that he did in G.I. Joe. He did what he was supposed to do, blah, 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 blah. But there's a new movie called like Blink Twice or something that he's in, and he looks like a effing psycho in the trailer. And I guess it's like a scary horror movie. Anyway, sorry, I cut you off, Jesse. Continue.
No, it's okay. I think a movie he's got a small part in the movie Haywire with Gina Carano, not trying to stir stuff up whichever way about her, but that was a movie she was in with a bunch of people from was it Steven Soderbergh, and that's a good movie. Like that's a fun action movie. It's got one of the best hand-to-hand fight scenes.
Well,
I think with her in Magneto.
And Steven Soderbergh did the Ocean's movies, so they have history together.
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah.
And actually, full circle, I was just going to recommend to you guys too, because I loved it. And it's a little bit offbeat comedy, but Logan Lucky and him and Adam Driver are the leads in that movie. And it's freaking a phenomenal. And it's a
heist movie.
It's a heist movie. Yeah.
I love that movie.
I thought it was okay.
Oh, okay.
But no, you thought it was okay. But did you appreciate on it? Because I've seen his acting range grow. I think he did a very nice job in that movie.
Let me rephrase. Sometimes the last couple of minutes of a movie ruin the movie for me. And two of the movies I'm thinking of right now involve Hilary Swank. So $1 Million Baby and Logan Lucky.
Are you talking about just the last bar scene and that's all you just didn't need?
Hey, I've seen $1 Million Baby.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything. Just one of those weird things. I've actually seen that movie.
I know it's not about car racing and like NASCAR. I know it was. I don't know. Think if it was it NASCAR? Whatever it was, like childhood trauma. My stepdad loved car racing, and I like don't want to have anything to do with that stuff just because of him. No judgment on the people that do, just not for me. So that part of the movie, like just it was kind of like, this is like an area I don't want to be in.
Yeah,
because it's just it is a good movie. It is funny. The acting is great. Like I have no complaints about the movie itself.
Yeah.
Except for that last scene with Hilary Swank, her detective, like
that
kind of like we were talking about Donnie Darko, where they just leave movies open to interpretation. Like this movie had point blank
a nice end.
B to Z, like A to Z. It had its thing, and then they throw that, or is it kind of thing at the end. I'm like, Joker did the same thing. Like the way the Joker movie ends, I hate it. It ruins the rest of the movie for me. $1 Million Baby. That end sequence just ruins the rest of the movie for me. Doesn't cancel out the great performances.
Inception?
It makes. I liked Inception because that played into the whole thing for Inception. That's one of the few that works for me.
Jesse, can you remind me how I boot somebody from the chat? I don't know. I don't remember.
Bam hammer.
There's a button, right? Isn't there a button that I can kick somebody out of here? So, okay.
I mean,
sorry.
I'm I'm not saying someone couldn't do it better than Channing Tatum, but I'd be excited to see him get to do it, like to do it for real, not as a gimmick in someone else's movie, like the way Ryan Reynolds got to do Deadpool. Like that worked. They did that little teaser thing and it leaked or whatever, and it worked. And then they got to the second one. And then and then the fact that Disney and MC, Marvel let them continue with what they did in the Deadpool Wolverine. Now it was under their banner. I think that was
impressive.
They knew it worked. Like they didn't try to over control it, at least to the point where it affected the movie, the final result.
Yeah.
But like the Fantastic Four from what's his name? Trank. Yeah. I think there was so much studio involvement in that. Like you can't tell who directed what scene, except that every other scene looks like it was directed by someone else. But yeah, anyway, that's yeah. If Channing Tatum gets a chance to do Gambit and they take it seriously in the level they need to take it seriously and have fun with it and make a compelling story, I'll be there opening night.
Awesome. Joe?
As long as Rogue's not in it. Oh, sorry, Joe, before I want to cut you off.
And as long as it's not an off-world night.
No, if it's off-world night, I'll be there. Sorry, Curtis.
Go ahead.
Your cutscene, I know there's a lot of things you don't want to tie Gambit down to a child character through the first movie, but you want to segue him into the X-Men. If you're going to take the X-Men stuff and do it well, have him with that young depowered Storm that like his first appearance where he's protecting her. I think that's a great way to segue into bringing him into the X-Men. And yeah, I think that would be a great post
1000%. Listen, I give you a lot of shit because you're a Rogue fan. I'm a Gambit fan, and you don't like the whole, romance between them. And I'll be honest, I don't either. I think Gambit is a much cooler character as a single ladies' man, kind of, suave guy. Like, I like him better by himself. So not that I have anything against Rogue, but I do like him better as a single guy.
And I think
go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think to me, their relationship has always felt like she was his choice out of the X-Men. Like, I never felt it was like some big thing. And again, I haven't read as much as you guys have, but I'm just saying, like, it felt more like, yeah, like I'm going to hit on Rogue because she's here. Maybe we'll have some fun or whatever, but not like, it's not going to be like, this is my one type of thing.
So I watched something this week as we were preparing for this and stuff. Yes, I did prep for this show. I don't know. Anyway, and I watched
You're off the show.
Yeah, I know. I watched this like 7-minute video, and I'll tell you right now, it was cringy as fuck because it was like somebody put it together with AI. And so it had this very like robotic voice going through there, and it used like, like different actors and actresses' faces. And it was just, it was very weird to look at and even listen to. But as I'm listening to like the way that they put the story together, it's told from Rogue's perspective. She's telling Gambit's story and why she fell for Gambit. And it basically is talking about the nature of how he was an outcast. He was kicked to the curb by his parents. And then, then when later on, when he couldn't control he was kicked out of the Thieves Guild, and then he couldn't control his powers. And then he went, had to work with Sinister. Right. And then, all that stuff came out about, the Morlocks and stuff. And then, the X-Men kick him to the curb. And it's like this whole thing where he's always like on the outside, and he's just, and she feels that same way because she can't touch anybody, because she can't interact with people. She can't have the same kind of relationship that other people can. So like, it was that whole connection of both being outsiders and never really fitting in that kind of drew them together. I thought that was kind of cool. That all being said, I like them better by themselves. So yeah. Joe, you got an idea for a Gambit movie?
Yeah, I think so. I think that Gambit isn't a well enough known character to assume that the general populace is going to know who he is. So an origin story is a necessity. I just don't think that out of, if you stop your average person on the street, there's a bit of an age difference there. Yeah. Considering one was from World War II. Yeah. I think that an origin story is a necessity for people to understand the character. I don't think that the average moviegoer is going to know enough about him to not have some kind of origin story.
Yeah, you can't just start in the middle of a story for sure.
Right. And I think that to establish the character, I think that having any X-Men in the movie aside from a in credit scene is probably a bad idea, because it's going to detract from what you're trying to do, which is get people to identify with this character. Channing Tatum, I think, can play the character. They obviously need to do a different costume. I know that they did the costume to try to make it comic book accurate. He just looks swollen to me. The guy's a fit dude. Gambit in the comics is a lanky guy. It just didn't work for me anyways. But I think the important things is that the movie has to be funny. I think there has to be a lot of humor in it, again, to draw, that general audience. But there has to be some good, because the funny characters are more endearing, I think. You connect with characters that are a little more lighthearted in their actions and things like that. They're easier to relate to. But then there has to be some kind of tragedy in it to show that he has some heart and can overcome challenges. He's a bad guy, quote unquote, right? A thief. But by overcoming the tragedy, you can see that he has a good heart, right. And I think those are important things. So for me, it's less about whoever even plays the character, even though I think Channing Tatum would be fine. Maybe get an accent coach or something if that's what people. I wasn't bothered by his accent, but if people are, that's something that can be worked on. But I think it's more about the content of the movie. Is the character endearing? Does the character have a heroic heart, something that can inspire people, that makes you feel good at the end of the movie? I think the content that they put in, and the Guardians of the Galaxy blueprint would work well with a character like Gambit. He can be funny, kind of off the wall, tragic, kind of heart-wrenching stuff. If something in the movie doesn't bring a tear to your eye, they're not doing it right.
Dude, you guys keep going, Joe. You guys, I'm writing, I'm taking notes on all your guys' stuff. You guys are making the perfect movie.
Yeah, I see. And Trevor says no more funny Marvel. I disagree. I think that funny characters are a lot easier to connect with. That's my opinion.
Just funny. It can't be Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, it can't,
not slapstick.
No. Yeah, it can't be that. Like, you have to mix in, like you're talking about. There's got to be some emotion, and there's got to be, some tragedy, and it can't just be jokes from start to finish.
Right.
But
and I think
hardness.
Even look at the Deadpool Wolverine movie, right? Like, there's a ton of jokes in there. But there's still a lot of heart in it. There's still parts in it where you're like, oh wow, there's like some powerful shit going on. So
you need that. You need that. Tragedy is relatable, and I think everybody struggles with tragedy in their real lives, even if what the character is facing isn't something that you personally have experienced. Everyone relates to tragedy.
Yeah, tragedy
makes characters relatable. You feel for them, you have sympathy for them, you want heroes to have a degree of sympathy. Like Captain America, even though I can do this all day, when he was that skinny kid in the beginning, you wanted him to overcome that bully that was just beating his ass. So challenges and things like that, overcoming challenges are what makes heroes. And I think that Gambit could have a very interesting dichotomy in the fact that he's not a good guy, but by the end of the movie, you could see that he is, inside.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of where I went to with the Oceans movie. Like, I think of those guys in the Oceans movies. It's like, they're stealing, right? They're not good, but like, you can tell they're good people. Like they, you know, they wouldn't like intentionally hurt somebody. They're not like malicious.
Situationally, you're rooting for them. Like,
yeah,
even though they're
you want a bad guy that you root for, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
I was going to say, but I just had a couple notes I wanted to throw them at you guys because. So first of all, Curtis and Jesse, you're completely wrong about Gambit and Rogue because they're in love and I love them together. So love you guys. Okay. No, when you mentioned Curtis, when you mentioned
okay, sorry, you got removed there by accident by somebody. So
no, you're I get it. I get it.
He does that all the time.
You know who came to mind, and obviously it's there's the accent and there's the lead and there's the adventure with a little bit of the comedy. Captain Jack Sparrow, like that character itself of just being like that situation where I have this is how I have the movie now. I have the movie as like literally he's second or third in command in the guild. The lead guy wants him to lead it. You have leading the guild, getting the girl. He's going to get married this weekend or whatever, and get the money. There's a heist going on, and I just picture literally his fiance like 2 days before, like not on our wedding, like not like and like so he's stuck in this like situation where he has these three things happening where like he's about to get every single thing, but at the end of this movie he ends up with none of it. Like he doesn't end up getting the money. Like the money ends up going to the right people for the right plate. Like he ends up giving it up and he doesn't get the girl. Like she knows that and he knows that. And they're going through the motions because they want to unite the groups, but they're not going to unite the groups. And then even leading the guild, like we do know that her brothers or the other guy, the second in command is better than me, even though the leader likes the third in command, which is Remy, because everybody likes Remy. But I have the opening like being at night and it's like, him running through the woods and he just like the monologue of him like saying something like I've never had nothing. My parents left me as a kid. Like I'm fine with nothing. I'm fine being by myself. And he's like running, doing like a little heist. And he just says the phrase like I've never been bothered about being by myself or not having anything. And that like pulls in the full circle of the whole movie is like this climbing arc of him like literally getting it all, getting the girl, getting the money, getting the job. And it goes sideways in like a really good way that like makes you like him and makes you understand that he is a bad guy situationally. And if it comes down to it, he's not going to pull the trigger at the end of the day. Like he's just not going to do that to a guy that doesn't deserve it. Like he'd do it to a guy that deserves it for sure. But I think that you could use Executioner, like give me some deep cut like X-Men villain to just like kind of throw in there and like build up on. And I'm with you, Joe. Once you add like any X-Men character specifically within the movie, it kind of ties your hands on like, okay, are we doing a bunch of movies now? And like, how are we going to navigate this? Do we have to keep that actress for the next movie and the blah, 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 like all that stuff. Like, I think that this should be specifically like titled King of the Guild or like something like specific to him. And
let me just throw this out there real quick to add on to what you're saying. Like, I love Gambit immensely, but if you throw another X-Men in there, he's going to take a back seat to pretty much everybody. Like other than Jubilee, you throw any other X-Men in there, he's going to probably take a back seat. So yeah, I'm with you guys 100%. Like, you know, unless it's just a cut scene at the end where, you know, like Jesse's talking about where he, you know, helps out Storm and you see like that, that iconic first appearance cover that you see of him and Storm. Like if that is a cut scene, I'm all for that. But
yeah, the cutscene literally is like, what's the next job to do? And like his leader like brings out this like young black chick out of the shadows or even older. And like, we got to get this is Aurora. We need to get her to her people type of thing. And like have that be the scene.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen the animated series Wolverine and the X-Men. It's not one that I knew while it was on and stuff, but I want to say that I was on a show or watching a show that Cornboy was talking about it.
It's wonderful.
It's really good just as a series, but the Gambit in there is the Gambit that I want. He's the one that like as he is, he'll be working with the X-Men or he'll be doing something, and then at the end it's like, well, where'd the diamond go? Shit, where'd Gambit go? Like all of a sudden, like he's just gone and he's taking the shit with him, So it's like he's doing good, he's working alongside of him, and next thing you know, like he's done just something that you're like, oh, Gambit, like that kind of thing. Yeah, I love that part of it.
You could throw in a little bit of Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly, especially the train job episode. Sorry, Curtis, I know you haven't seen that, but I think that's one where they're out doing crime, they're stealing stuff, and they realize what they're stealing needs to go to a good cause, so they give it up, and it causes a lot of problems for them down the road. And into what Matt was talking about, how he's trying to get it all, and then like it all starts falling away. So you get a little bit of that, and if you set it in Louisiana, there's a couple of cool characters you could do. You could play with some of like the police element. Not that you need like a normal, but if you needed a normal character, not like Hellboy where you had like that Smith guy that was attached to him in that first movie, which I thought completely was pointless. The actor did fine with the role, but it was an unnecessary role. Like the Transformers movie, you don't need that many humans around these Transformers to understand what's going on. But you could play into, you get like Brother Voodoo, or maybe even not have them in it, but like things that could lead to these other characters and connect to different things. Because characters like Gambit connect to so much of the Marvel universe, not just the X-Men. And I'm going to throw this out there. I don't know if he'd be into doing it or if anybody would agree with me, because I know his movies are very love them or hate them.
Tim Burton.
No. When you were talking about like the energy, like with the Ocean's 11, when I think of like heist double cross movies, one of the first things that come to my mind is Snatch.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
dude, a Guy Ritchie Gambit movie? Fucking
yes, a Guy Ritchie
up,
Gambit movie.
Dude,
yes.
Take my fucking money.
And hey, and if you don't get Channing Tatum, and ever since I saw Bike Riders, but like I think Austin Butler could pull it off. And he has more of the slim face and more of the slim body than Channing Tatum. But if that's my second choice to Channing Tatum.
Like Garrett Hedlund,
you're a fucking genius, Jesse.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Purple Gang, clip that and send it to me.
Jesse, Garrett, I loved him as young Captain Hook in Peter Pan in their recent Pan movie. I don't know what his age is currently, but he was fantastic. He would have been.
He was great.
He was great in Four Brothers, and that's how I picture Gambit as well.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I like Garrett Hedlund in most of the stuff I've seen him in. I think he's a good actor. I don't know if he's doing that much anymore.
Tron.
God, I'd be so down for a Guy Ritchie. Oh,
you
man, you got me like
drunk,
dude. I'm
Tron.
Did you? Oh, well, I love Tron. Yeah, give me that. Yeah, you get that Guy Ritchie. You get that fast paced, those cut scenes, where he's like, and.
Just stop. You already got me hard as a rock.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you like that style, even if like some people that don't care about the King Arthur movie that he did, but like you watch those cut scenes in that movie, like it's a style, and I think that it fits Gambit's personality, and I think it fits Gambit's world.
100%.
I love that King Arthur movie. I'm not saying it's the best adaptation of King Arthur, but I love that different take on it.
Fantastic. I don't mind it at all. I'd rather have that and give me an actual vision than just trying to remake the same thing that other people have done just with new actors.
Dude, I honestly wish I had Kevin Feige's phone number right now. I'd be texting him. Guy Ritchie, Gambit movie, do it. Fucking Yeah,
because you know Guy Ritchie would have fun with that. I mean, I love that scene at the end of Snatch where it does that freeze frame. It's like you get that moment when you're crossing the road and you make that face, and then you realize everyone's making a weird face except for Brad Pitt, who's like, like that would be such a great moment where like Gambit, like maybe he wanted to lose everything and get away. So the whole time you think he's going to lose it, at the end he's like, all right, I'm free and clear. I don't have these responsibilities.
Yeah, I'm back on my own.
And that's the thing. It plays into what I was just thinking of, is that like, what if the only way he can get out of marrying this chick is like, and we don't even know this yet, but is like by getting the diamond and like stealing the diamond from this other party. And like, so everything falls in line where by the end, like that chick's dad doesn't kill him and they don't reunite. They don't unite the guilds, but he's like gives him a pass and a tip of the cap because he presents that girl's father with the diamond. Like,
and like in Batman, he gets to be the villain for both sides of that conflict if he ever comes back. And and then he gets his freedom. Yeah.
Well, I even think for a second movie, they could do like still before you even get to the X-Men and stuff, like do that whole, where he's struggling with his powers and then he has to go to Mr. Sinister and he helps him to control his powers and stuff. But then he has to, he ends up finding himself in the middle of this Morlock massacre that he doesn't realize what he's into. And then he tries to, defend them and tries to turn the tables, but then he gets his ass whooped by Sabretooth and kind of left for dead. I could see that as a good secondary movie after that. So, yeah. I don't
know. The third movie, you have him ending up at the X-Mansion.
Yeah.
Making out with Rogue.
No, screw you. And I'm not saying Rogue and Magneto either. Like for the longest time as a kid, I liked that because the whole Savage Land story, I liked, that she was a villain. She left and she was with Magneto as like part of the Brotherhood. We're not talking about Rogue, but I'm talking about Rogue. But yeah, I'm not saying I have a good option for her, but I love Gambit when he's playing like the big brother role to Laura X-23 in some of the comics. Like some of those stories were awesome when he was with her.
Basically what Jesse is saying is he likes his Rogue like he likes his coffee without another guy's dick in it. So
well, and it wouldn't be
fair. I don't want another guy's dick in anything I have. Just saying.
To be fair, it wouldn't be a podcast without Jesse getting to talk about Rogue. But so for me, I think that if I was to give up the Rogue and Gambit thing and just have it be like you're saying, it's within proximity. So it's like, oh, we're all from different parts of the country. And well, we happen to be neighbors. Like you're from this state that's right near where I'm from. And so we kind of bond in that way. And we kind of flirt in that way. But like you're saying, like leave it at that and don't let it go any further than that type of thing.
Oh, I'm totally okay with flirting as long as that's where it stops.
The flirtation is fine, though we're both from the South is fine. Like I get why they did it. And I think the thing that bugs me about it the most is they're married now in the comics is because like that came out of freaking nowhere at that point in the comics. That's my whole issue with it as a thing today. Cause they weren't a thing in the comics. And sorry, Joe and Matt are like falling asleep listening.
No, I'm fine. No, go ahead. I'm good.
I'm good.
But that's not what we're talking
I've
about.
got one more thing that I'm just waiting for my turn.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop talking about Rogue. That can be my own episode someday down the road.
Go ahead, Joe.
All right. So I'm going to say this. If Channing Tatum does play, and I will explain why afterwards. If Channing Tatum does play Gambit, there's got to be, and I believe that every good superhero movie has to end with a final battle. Right at the end of that final battle, he's surrounded by villains, assassins, or whatever. The camera's got to zoom in on his face, and he's got to say that line from Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm about to make a name for myself right here. And I think that's got to become an important part for the character. Because in Man of Steel, Zod never says kneel before Zod. And the whole movie, I was waiting for that. And I was just disappointed, because that I felt like was like a part of the character
it's
that
essential.
we didn't. Yeah.
Okay, so same thing, piggyback on, and then you have one of the climax moments where they have his hands tied behind his back, and he can't use his powers, and they're like, "Oh, we've got you now, dude." Because obviously super fans and normal fans would see this coming, but like if he asked for just, "Hey, I just want a piece of gum," or something like that, and like if he ended up having a piece of gum and like using his powers to do that, because that was something that in the comic books they did when everyone was questioning, or like, how can he use his powers, what is his limitations, how does he charge the things, and if that was part of like him breaking out of that and then jumping down and like into the big battle scene, I think that would be phenomenal.
Agreed.
Listen, if something happened to where they couldn't use Channing Tatum for some reason, I think that would be a good pick. So
yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen Bike Riders. I recommend the movie. It's definitely a different take, a different pace, and it's not like it doesn't have a Hollywood ending for sure. It's just kind of a movie, like a fake documentary type movie, but Austin Butler and Tom Hardy do a fantastic job in Bike Riders.
Awesome. Any other thoughts, Gambit?
I hope it gets done, and I hope they do it well. Yeah.
I think that with the popularity of that, like there was several cameos in that Deadpool Wolverine movie. That one seems to be the one that has gotten the most excitement. And so I don't know how they can't do something. Maybe it's not a standalone Gambit. Maybe it's something, but if he doesn't show up in a movie here in the next couple of years, I will be absolutely shocked. So, which I'm excited for because I love the character. So
yeah,
Beautimus. Is it time to look at some dinosaurs? Is that the point of the show we're at? I don't know. Do you guys like dinosaurs?
Not really. I mean, I thought it was just a show about talking to you guys about cool stuff, but
yeah, dinosaurs are cool though.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone's getting tired, and we're about at your normal 3-hour limit.
We got dinosaurs.
No, dude. I just
Yes.
I just want these guys to be in your hands and be done with this whole thing so I can take a breath. And
now last we talked was like, I don't know, about 3 months ago or something. And at that point, you really felt like we would have these by Legion's Con.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts now?
My thoughts are there's a very outside chance, but it just all comes down to shipping stuff. It all comes down to container stuff and that type of thing. So we pushed, but the only figure we pushed back, like to be at the last to be produced, was the green on the Caspar, because that was still being tweaked to the metallic. And so that's the only, so like luckily again with the production of them, everything was fine tooling wise. We just had to like work on that one last color. So yeah, an outside chance, but I'm still going to have tons of stuff to show. And I got a couple 1.5 Venusia and Scavar and a couple things to show off that I haven't shown yet. So I'll have that stuff to show off. I'll have some stuff for sale. I'll be getting rid of some stuff. I'll have some blanks. There's some customizers that are already complaining to me about not being able to customize blanks and just stuff like that. So, but yeah, I'm excited, and it's just slowly but surely. And obviously, again, this 1.5 wave that's going to come out with the next two big figures. Mm-hmm. And then we might have, I mean, again, and I haven't talked to the guys about it that have done some of the customizing, but, you know, I don't know how that works. Hey, do we want to produce this one that ended up being super cool and everybody likes at the table at Legion's Con, you know? Mm-hmm. I've talked to Steven about that too, where he did a different version of a Milwick, a different color scheme. You know, would that be cool to produce? Because now since the tooling is done on all of these and we only have minimal tooling on the next few, the pace and the colors are set and we have the paint masters, everything's going to go a lot quicker. So the turnaround is legitimately by Legion's Con. If I launch the Kickstarter and we do a Kickstarter for the end of this year through December, you know, by what would that be? By July, we could have the next set of figures easily because everything's done. It's not the waiting game. And that's what's so cool about what the Horsemen do so well is that they're able to produce in the way where like they already have all those figures, all of those Frankensteins. So they're able to sell them and they have the infrastructure to do that. Where with this next wave, I'll at least be able to start to produce them, but I won't officially be able to start to produce till end of December when Kickstarter numbers come in. If people, you know, want to support a Kickstarter in December, because not many people really want to do it that time of year. But
so is that kind of your plan? Is the end of this year running a Kickstarter for Wave 2?
That would be my plan to do the next two figures. To do it'd be basically 1.5, which is you could get any of these again, with the possibility, and again, possibility of any 5 of these with a different color scheme. We'll probably do the blanks at the cheaper scale again, but do it as a different color, where these blanks, we do know there are a lot of people that like unproduced or like concept molded, you know, looking figures, where that's why we chose this color gray. But the next time we do them, we might do them just in a plain brownish, you know, medium brown color that looks more like a real dinosaur.
I'm just throwing this out there as a customizer. One of the things that we're, you know, customizers a lot of times are looking for when it comes to like 4 Horsemen and stuff is black, because black joints, oftentimes you don't have to paint the joints because it can look like shadow. And so anytime that you can get something that's in black, it works out super well. So just
we actually did some concept artwork of like having a like a tar swamp wave, where it's just they're all just in this weird black color. But yeah, they again the details that they
that's cool.
It's gonna look good. But yeah, man, no, I appreciate you guys and thank you for humoring me on the topics, because I had a couple things I wanted to talk about, and I know that I have handfuls of friends that just want to drink and have sex, and then I have a handful of friends that want to just talk about
motorcycles.
Stuff, so
I feel like that was the nicest way to call us losers.
Yeah, we're the ones that don't get sex. So if you know, just for a second, taking off your ideas from Mars Hat, and as a toy fan, you get this in your hand and you're holding it, and it's not your creation. You just get this toy. What are your thoughts of this toy and how it moves and how it looks and everything as a toy collector?
I love it. I'm happy about the mobility and how many joints we put in. The added neck was perfect. I would possibly want to tweak a little bit of the cut around the front of the boot.
Okay.
To possibly, because we have some really cool posability with him, like leaning forward, like legs forward. But the ability for
that ratcheted joint is nice. I like that.
Is that a good sound? I don't know.
That is a great sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get nervous with that sound just because I'm like, wait, is it about to crack in half? Did you guys see? This is my first time actually playing with these guys. So like, I'm like, I've got this bad boy.
Oh wow!
Like in this position over here.
Superhero landing.
Yeah, kind of style. I was thinking about getting a figure and putting it like a dwarf or something, putting it on his back. You guys see my bins?
That's nice.
We've got a big remodel going on in the basement, and I'm getting rid of sadly getting rid of a lot of stuff, but it has to happen for space for this bad boy.
That's cool. Now, do you happen to have a Kuzo to show us? Because that is clearly the best one. Heck
Yeah, how are you guys liking this the box art too?
I love the box art. I think Jesse had something he wanted to talk to you about with it, though.
We have issues, Jesse?
Oh, Curtis.
No, I did. This is my first. This is my first time. The one thing that I will say is we're trying to figure out how to not have This sounds weird. Not have horn rub. To not have horn rub on the front of the
horn rub.
The boxes, because there was a little bit of horn rub on them. So what are you not digging on the box? What do I got to change, Jesse?
Let me see the other side.
I think it's a personal
the other
preference.
spine.
Okay, so none of these
Not
actually
the
go.
side, the other side.
Okay.
That.
So you don't like the? Oh, you think that it should be them laying on their backs?
Nope. One more time.
I think he might be saying that you should be able to read it when the box is standing
up.
If you look at all the books on your bookshelf, which way do the titles go?
So you're saying that this? You're saying that this should be like this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I will make a quick note tonight, and I will send it to the factory and see if we can get that fixed.
I mean, I don't know how many people are going to display that side out with the art.
Probably nobody.
The cool side of it.
But it's worth an ask, right?
It's a weird tick for me, so like I was never actually going to suggest that, but
but well, hey, if now this changes, it's going to be known as the Jesse labeling.
Because like when I have like certain collections and stuff, and sometimes I want to use the box to like put in the background, and if I flip it around certain ways, I can't display it the proper way because then like the barcode's showing. So I have to put it like the wrong way. It drives me nuts. Like just.
Yeah.
I think the artwork on it is great. The window's great.
The artwork is gorgeous.
Yeah.
The overall design, I love it. I think they're so much fun. Like
we actually added this. This was I think that the Horsemen do it where it's like half window, but the window continues to the front.
Yeah.
Where he changed. Andrew changed it so that it has this bar across the front there. So,
yeah, that's cool. Did Nate do all the artwork here on the side, or who?
No, this is CJ. This is our comic book artist, CJ Edwards, who also obviously designed a lot. Yeah, I mean it looks wonderful. Nate is he's just way too busy, and he apologized about not being able to do the sleeve for us, but obviously you can see why he's too busy because. You're holding up that figure obscura and seeing all of that wonderful artwork. So, I don't blame them, and I completely understand. And if anybody wants a refund on their figures because they don't get that slip cover, like I will 100% not mail you your figures, and I will give you a refund. But just unfortunately, not going to make a cut this time on the sleeve that we were going to try to surprise people with.
How's the weight feel on those? Like, are they pretty hefty?
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you felt them, and you'll feel them at the show. I'd say about...
Like comparing to do you have something else that you can compare it to?
Let me see here. So we got...
Like a 5-pound jar of peanut butter or something?
Well, I was thinking like an ogre from Four Horsemen. But
I know.
I was hoping he had one of those scales with the two sides.
Are you going to compare those two to each other?
It's pretty comparable.
They're pretty similar.
The red guy feels a little bit heavier than the yellow guy.
Compared to the weight of an average human head, how much heavier are they?
I was going to say I'm going to grab... Now I'm going to... before I drop a bunch of stuff, I'm actually going to go grab... I have a Mythic Centaur.
Oh, yeah, Farius.
It's heavier or lighter than Castle Grayskull?
I'd say it's pretty comparable to this guy. Actually,
Okay.
now that I'm holding him,
Okay.
maybe actually more now that I'm.
if it weighs the same as a duck, then it's a witch, and we have to burn it.
Did you know that if a duck's ass wasn't watertight, it would sink?
Did you know that ducks have?
Yes, we did know, Jesse. Here's the WaterWorld collection. If anybody wanted to see the WaterWorld / Robin Hood collection, there it was, folks.
I like how all those toys and bins are like classics and everything, but the WaterWorld, that's like
that made the cut. Yeah. I'm actually surprised that he didn't say that Kevin Costner should have played Gambit. So,
first of all, Kevin Costner could have played Gambit,
especially after
in this movie, Kevin Costner would actually be his bride's father.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
What do you have you seen?
Can you imagine Kevin Costner doing that accent?
Dude, Kevin Costner would walk in and
do accents.
Well, I was about to say Kevin Costner would walk in, not do an accent, and no one would question him because it's the same thing that happened when like Michael Jordan was in a commercial for like Hanes, and he walked in with a Hitler mustache, and no one said anything to him at all, and he just filmed the commercial. They put it online and everything, and then like randomly a year later, Charles Barkley was interviewed, was like, why doesn't anybody stand up to this guy? He walked into the freaking commercial with a Hitler mustache and no one said anything. And because Jordan knew he could do it. And that's what Kevin Costner would do. He'd just walk in, do his job, and everyone would be like, we love you anyway.
Did you see his Western flick thing? What
open range or what was
Horizon? An American
I have not. Is it good?
Jesse did a Wednesday one shot on it, so
nice. Well, it's got him. So
is the second part out? I know that.
No, it got pushed back because it released at Cannes or some film festival, so they've not announced a theatrical release for it now.
Okay, because I thought weren't they supposed to both parts be out this summer or something?
That's what the studio wanted, and but Kevin Costner wanted them to have like some time between them, maybe to see both of them in the theater at some point, but not. He didn't.
I got to go now. I got to go.
Now, what do you think about this from Trevor?
I'll say this. If Kevin Costner ruined Robin Hood for you, have you watched the latest one with, what was it, Taron Egerton? I think he's a great young actor, but God, that movie was horrible.
Well, we had a special guest, folks. Trevor chased
them away.
Yeah.
He actually left.
Yeah, like legit. We didn't just remove him from the screen. He's gone, folks.
He does like to, and he loves a good exit. He doesn't like to wait till credits. So,
well, I mean, listen, he really loves this Kevin Costner, and Trevor threw out a low blow there. So,
Chris Kelly, I agree. Small Soldiers needs to be revisited. I actually saw it was streaming on Max, I think. I'm like, I need to get my kids introduced to that. That was a great movie.
Is that's the cartoon with the flat top guy?
It's a live action where the toys come to life. They have the chips in them.
Yeah, I always there's the movie Toy Soldiers with whatchamacallit.
What's that, Richard Pryor?
No, that's the toy. One of the fucking Hobbit dudes.
Sean Astin, where he's like in like the military school or whatever.
Yes. Yes.
Never heard
So
of that.
anytime that somebody talks about Small Soldiers, I think of Toy Soldiers, which is an amazing movie. I fucking love that movie. So yeah, and it's also got Will Wheaton in it. Great movie.
Will Wheaton.
Wheaton. So, we're already 3 hours, so I'm not going to do it this week in theaters.
Yeah, 1-6 pissed everybody off, so we're just.
I'm thinking we're not going to do a lightning round. Real quick though, anything coming up that you guys wanted to make mention of that you don't want to wait 2 weeks for, as far as Event Horizon goes?
Legion's Con's
coming up. Okay,
that's in 2 weeks.
I will say I just saw the third episode of Agatha.
I haven't watched it yet.
That series is going great. I really am enjoying it. And new episode of Penguin tomorrow. The first episode was fantastic. I know Trevor's been talking very highly of it. If you haven't checked out the Penguin, it is it's very good. So both of those, I would say, if you haven't checked them out yet, they're going pretty strong so far. Chris,
I did watch the first 2 episodes of Agatha because my girlfriend wanted to, and they were good.
I'm enjoying it. So,
Trevor's playing the villain now.
Is your job here done because you got people to watch Penguin, or because you chased off Matt Rod by trashing Kevin Costner?
No. Why not both?
Let us know in the comments. So,
Trevor's been around long enough to become the Penguin. So.
There you go. Well, folks, we appreciate you dropping by. This was fun hanging out with Matt, talking all these different topics. We've got new Legion's Quest came out this past week. We don't have one this upcoming week, but 2 weeks from now we will.
You guys should release an audio version of that.
We do. If you haven't checked that out yet, that's a D&D campaign that me, Jesse, Nate, and Trevor are doing with Joe as our DM, who's doing an amazing job. He's our fearless leader.
You guys
kill us every time. Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's also on audio format. So check that out. Matt and I did some more stuff with the MYP series today. We actually were talking about some of the toys and still reviewing each of the episodes. Yep. That's really been a lot of fun. And then Sunday, Jesse and I got another show with Charles Swearingen and Perry Morrell Jr. So another kind of, Legion's Con preview type episode. So yeah, just a lot of stuff going on. Joe, you on tomorrow night on Oz's?
If Oz is doing a show tomorrow, I will be on it. I haven't had that conversation, but I am actually not traveling this weekend, so I should be.
Because you had to travel 2 weeks in a row, right? You had to.
I did. I did. That's why I was yawning during this episode.
Gotcha. So, anything else, guys? Anything else you want to promote or make mention of?
Curtis and I did.
And Jesse, Joe locked up. I think he was going to say we did Legion's cast yesterday, talking about God's Fire, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. Of course, my internet has impeccable timing.
Yeah,
I sat there listening to everybody talk for like 45 minutes, and it cut out as soon as I opened my mouth. But yeah, that was a good time. So,
also like and subscribe if you're listening to this. We are now at 361 subscribers. So we do have a giveaway coming up at 400 and 500. We'd like
good giveaways.
Away.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, hit that like and subscribe and let your friends know. So All right. Any last words?
No.
Right. So just real quick before you hit the buttons.
Yeah.
If anyone's still here, I have been so disappointed in this Red Ranger that I have been looking at Lightning Collection Red and Green Rangers for the past bit here. So if anyone's got one they're willing to let go for not stupid eBay prices, let me know. Thanks.
Okay.
I honestly, seriously thought you were about to snap that thing in half.
100%. I was like, he's been playing with that thing and he is getting ready to fucking snap a Power Ranger on the screen in front of us.
He does nothing. Like the articulation he has, like he only. Hey, Legend Collector, yeah, PM me. Let me know.
Yeah, I'm actually disappointed you didn't.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, I think my son
Legend
still
Collector.
Enjoy.
He's coming to hang out with me tomorrow.
Oh, beautiful.
I am, dude. I got to work.
No,
tomorrow.
Dylan, Legends Collector. We're gonna watch a movie because we're gonna do a couple Wednesday one shots.
Nice.
Not to go all at once, Curtis, but we've got a couple we're talking about. So he was like, I can't find this one movie. It's not anywhere without subscribing to another thing. I'm like, well, I have the Blu-ray. Why don't you just come watch it? And he's like,
well,
okay.
Let me know just in case it's something that I'm interested in. I might want to join you guys.
Sure.
So
yeah, what time?
I'll shoot you a message after.
Doing dinner.
He's gonna be here around noon tomorrow.
Yeah, today I'm right in the middle of the day. You know I work Saturday. God,
well, can Dooch call you while you're watching the movie and just crank into the phone for you?
Yeah, sure. I'll just turn the volume all the way down and shove the phone in one of my drawers somewhere, so I don't have.
That's how I like it. I can just prattle on and amuse myself. Perfect.
And just so everyone knows, there's no basement for him to go to, but I did bring the air fryer home from work, and I have pizza rolls.
Oh, wow, very nice. Jesse's
sometimes
going all out.
you tell a lie long enough, eventually some of it comes true.
Shoot me, find me Legends Collector. If you're, that might, for a steal, I might be interested in.
You either die from starving or you live long enough to make pizza rolls.
Or you watch the show long enough. We should have sent Trevor a link as much as he was chatting on this show tonight.
Yeah, that's true.
You watch the show long enough or you stay on. Wait, you either watch the show long enough for it to end or you join the cast. I got to work on that one.
I think that's pretty much how it works.
Yeah.
But bottom line, for $5, perfectly good kid's toy. It's not going to work for me on my shelves.
All right. Until next time, we will see you guys on the OffWorld. Snap it to a Slim Jim.
No.